Boy, you know you need to come give me that dick. He wanna hit from the back cause I'm thick. I like to fuck on him when I get lit. Yeah, tell me this pussy is shit. Ay, oh, he's so thirsty. Ride that dick like a horse. See, he said, are you tired? I look back like, yeah, let's have a sex talk, huh? Wanna see your body take your clothes off, huh? I'ma buzz quick, keep your lips off, huh? Rock that shit till you blast off, ay, yeah, let's have a sex talk, huh? Got a big boy, then pull it out, hey. Can you make it feel like the first time, huh? I don't get tired, let him wear that, ay, yeah. Feet up on the bed, ride it to the tip top. T like it doggy style, cause I make that ass pop. Head never finna leave me, cause I got that drip drop. Said this last bitch still fucking like a robot. Ay, let's have a sex talk, huh? Wanna see your body take your clothes off, huh? I'ma buzz quick if your lips off, huh? Rock that shit till you blast off, ay, yeah. Let's have a sex talk, huh? Got a big boy, then pull it out, hey. Can you make it feel like the first time, huh? I don't get tired, let him wear that, ay, yeah. Got more milkshake than Khalees. Ain't met a nigga who can handle me. I think I should be in museums, cause this body up masterpiece. Can I fuck you to a trap beat? He said, girl, you tryna trap me. Oh, hell now, nigga, no, I ain't. You can hit that door, here, go ahead, leave. Let's have a sex talk, huh? Wanna see your body take your clothes off, huh? I'ma buzz quick, keep your lips off, hey. Rock that shit till you blast off, hey. Yeah, let's have a sex talk, huh? Got a big boy, then pull it out, hey. Can you make it feel like the first time, huh? I don't get tired, let him wear that, hey. Yeah, bad bitch tastes like cherry, kiwi, real big titties, these double D's. Ice on my neck, deep, real BBs, peanut butter inside Reese's Pieces. He said it tastes just like bubble gum. He eat it from the back to the front. Bitch, I got green like I'm buttercup. He say I got that little yummy yum. Let's have a sex talk, huh? Wanna see your body take your clothes off, huh? I'ma buzz quick, keep your lips off, huh? Rock that shit till you blast off, hey. Yeah, let's have a sex talk, huh? Got a big boy, then pull it out, hey. Can you make it feel like the first time, huh? I don't get tired, let him wear that, hey. Yeah. Hey, bad bitch taste like cherry. Real big titty, double D's.
We really live out here. Can I be heard? What's going on? Y'all like the 2020K Color Mind, Black Bird, Public Media. Hey Sharon, what's up, Diara?
Here's what I found.
Oh, gee, hey, Siri. Who the hell is talking to you? They're already on to me. I'm a touch quiet. I can't be a touch quiet because in 2024 we need to get loud. Hey Julian, what's good? What's good? Okay, I don't know how much I'm gonna keep liking that, but I spent money uh on a better webcam. Trying to be I'm trying to get on that foreign man to foreign land type shit. Hey Spinoli, what's going on? This is definitely just me. I like feedback. Like, what did y'all think of the what did y'all think of the new little pre-show thing? Oh, I don't even know if y'all got to see that before. It zoom in. Hold up, can I? What the hell does my I need to see my preview mode. Let's see what you guys are seeing. Okay, here's what you guys are seeing. I did see that he restarted Animal Crossing. I ain't never played that shit. Um, Jesus. Okay. See, this is why I don't like it, bro. You know what? But it does. It rolls like my mind does. So maybe it is quite. It is quite on brand. Thank you guys for the likes. Back to live mode. Okay, there we go. Thank you guys for the likes. Like that shit up. I'm like testing out all of like the features right now. It's neat. I like the track list a lot. I appreciate that. We're gonna get into the track list is as much for you as it is for me. So I can actually make sure something is accomplished during these during these lives that I plan to be trying to do more of. We got a good show today. We're recording an episode of the Empathy Hour with BR with Black Red Guard BR house. We also have sound effects now. Please let me know if you guys heard the sound effects because that's on a different. I put the, I even for Christmas. Can y'all see this shit? For Christmas, I got a soundboard, so you know we're really locking in this year. Blackbird for the world. Diara pissed as hell about a lot of things. I did not. I saw. I didn't tap into it because there's been a lot. Obviously, a lot of news that we're gonna stop at the top. We're gonna start with at the top of the hour. With and it's yeah. It's been this week. It's clearly been a lot. Um, I think about Good's child's care more about mom not coming home. That's real. That's real. Oh my God, Sharon. I think you have maybe said that before. Man, my heart is with you. Um, it sounds like it's been hell over there. Like I mean, honestly, since George Floyd, right? But we're actually I think that's actually a a great transition to even start. Obviously, we have to talk about the assassination of Renee Good by ICE indiscriminately. Um, how I really want to jump into it is that like I had planned the show all around like I saw the video, saw we got them from a bunch of different angles, and so I was just gonna play one that had them all up and then just quickly get that out of the way because like the watching of it, I parts of me are now starting to feel like yeah, it's a bit damaging on like a society wide level the amounts of unmitigated violence we have access to. um like it is kind of crazy. Like in the past 3 months, I've seen a person get their neck. I know what it looks like to get your neck clean shot off by a sniper rifle, and I also know what it looks like to, um, at least in the immediate aftermath, what it looks like for a person to be slumped over after being shot in the face for absolutely no fucking reason, by someone who's being paid by our federal tax dollars. I honestly fear like this is the plan. Both parts of it. From allowing mini Somalia to go from just like a meme, like a super good faith meme, to um literal crystal knock type shit. And I have a video that'll put that in context from extra history. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and this is Color Mind Live, part of the Blackbird Public Media, where we want you to be you and more importantly be kind. uh Super chats help keep this station, keep this project alive. We appreciate them when you are able to, because we want black these videos will always be free. However, if you're able to, either please consider becoming a YouTube member, consider joining Patreon at patreon.com/colormind, or make it quick and easy, especially for my black folks now. I know y'all be on Cash App. Just go ahead, hit that Cash App real quick. Just go ahead. All right, I'm not gonna do that a lot. I promise. I am trying to be more standardized, but it's got to get done. It's got to get done. All right, so first video we got is lib trigger warning, trigger warning for liberals. Not that we're going to. Actually, I think I got it from the majority report. Okay, I think no, yeah. Actually, yeah, trigger warning for MSNBC. We're gonna start off with the new footage that is showing
72 hours ago, America arrived.
Bro, we got reaction streams now. Like, look at this shit, bro. Like, we're starting to figure. We're figuring it out. Okay, great. You can't even see when I'm up there. So this is from, I said MS. Yeah, it's always gonna be MSNBC to me. Like, I don't know what made them MSN now or whatever the fuck, but I want to look at this video, both showing the new angle and an analysis from the ever reliable NYPD, but I want to use it as context and a jumping off point to ask this question that's definitely on the minds of, I guess, technically like 30% of my audience, since most of you guys are white, but it is about the 75% of you guys that are white.
At a turning point, and we are going to have a lot of discussion as to why that is and how we got here. But much of it has to do with how the Trump administration has responded to the tragic, deadly shooting of 37-year-old Renee Good by an ICE officer. But before we get there, let's examine the incident itself and how it unfolded. I want to take a look at the increasing number of videos and angles from the moments surrounding the shooting. And I'm joined now by Darren Porcher. He's a former NYPD lieutenant. He's going to help us work through these videos. Darren, thank you for being with us to help us with this. I want to start with the video with which most of us are familiar. It was taken by a bystander and gives us probably the clearest look at what happened. In this video, Renee Good is at the wheel of this maroon Honda Pilot. Take note of this ICE officer who is walking around the back of the vehicle holding his cell phone in his right hand. This is Officer Jonathan Ross. We now know that he's recording video on a cell phone, again, in his right hand. The person with whom he's interacting appears to be Renee Good's wife. A pickup truck then pulls up. Two more officers get out and walk toward Renee Good's vehicle. In fact, one of the officers tries to open the door as Renee Good slowly reverses the vehicle, and he reaches inside the SUV. Now, that's him with his hand on the car door. But look beyond this. You see the original officer, Jonathan Ross. He's the one we first saw behind Renee Good's vehicle. He's now crossed in front of the Honda Pilot, and this is where things really escalate. The next video is going to play out very fast. Renee Good's vehicle starts to drive forward, appearing to turn toward the right, not toward Officer Ross. Officer Ross, near the front of the vehicle, pulls out his gun and shoots 3 times, including as the vehicle appears to pass in front of him. The SUV keeps rolling until it crashes into a parked car. Officer Ross, who fired the shots, is walking around freely. All right, this is the part. That's the first video that most people saw. There have since been several videos, Darren, that show largely the same thing. Sometimes you're waiting for the video that shows you something entirely.
Like that off rip lets you know that, okay, well, escalation. Like, this is, when I first saw it, and I think I said it on the live, the last live, that the more you watch that video from all the different angles, you start to believe, like, did it feels like he was almost looking for, like, he was looking for footage to give him like the least amount of footage needed to give him probable cause to unload that clip into that car. Like, he already wanted to do it. And like the him having that intent isn't all that surprising. It's more so the unabashed gall to, like, not even to be set off at such or to escalate at such a small provocation, if you want to call it fucking that.
Different than what you thought you saw the first time. We didn't get that.
Correct. As we unpack this, we have a multitude of different flaws as it relates to training. From the first perspective, when the officer, the ICE agent, tried to open the vehicle door, that is something that we go against as it relates to best practices in policing. The best case scenario is to order the driver out of the vehicle because it makes it safer for you as a police officer because you don't know what's in that vehicle. So in addition to that, now we had an ICE agent that put himself in harm's way by standing directly in front of the pathway of the vehicle. Police departments prohibit officers from discharging their weapon at a moving vehicle unless that moving vehicle is introducing deadly physical force in addition other than just the vehicle. The reason being is this: if you're successful in shooting the operator of that motor vehicle, the centrifugal force of that vehicle is going to continue to move forward. In addition to that,
which, like, to borrow a phrase from my good friend Lil Bill and Lil Bill's Barbershop, duh, nigga. Like, yeah, you don't shoot the driver of a car while the car is in motion. Imagine if other people had been in that intersection. Imagine if somebody had been, like, parking their car, like, was inside of the white car that eventually was hit. Like, you could have caused more injuries. Imagine if the gas tank exploded because the engine was running when you shot a person for absolutely no fucking reason.
after the officer or the ICE agent fires the first shot, he then moves to the side and fires 2 additional shots. When he fires the 2 additional shots, the threat has passed. So you don't have a sense of urgency or immediacy. So it begs the question as to why did he fire those additional shots? This is something that he's going to have to answer to. Yep. And we have the Supreme Court law titled Graham versus Connor that was introduced in 1989, which supports when and how police officers can use force. This seems to be somewhat of a travesty, and there's a lot of answers that ICE is going to have to introduce the court as it relates to this officer's actions.
So one of the things that happens in a lot of these ICE immigration stops is they use a video to identify who the person is, who they're moving up to, and to get the license plate off the back of the car. I want to take a look at something something else that we know about this. This is a new video that the Trump administration is trying to draw your attention to. Yesterday, it came out. It's a video that was taken on the phone, held by the ICE officer, Jonathan Ross, who fired the shots. And it was first obtained yesterday afternoon by a conservative website. Hours later, MS Now got its own copy from the Department of Homeland Security, which oddly is about 10 seconds longer than the original leaked version. 10 seconds shorter. The DHS released a version of this that was shorter than the one that was originally leaked. It starts about 10 seconds later. That's interesting. The Trump administration, specifically Vice President J.D. Vance, is using the new video to say that Renee Good was in the wrong. But I'll let you decide for yourself. I want to play the longer version for you now. I will caution you. It's already been pretty disturbing what you've seen. This one's more disturbing, and it contains profanities, and it ends with the sound of 3 gunshots.
I was trying to stop it so you can see. I think somebody mentioned in the chat, like, oh, there it is, perfect. Like, her dog was in there, and we're calling her a domestic terrorist. We're calling her a danger to a federal agent's life. She had dogs and stuffed animals in the glove compartment. What the fuck are we doing here?
don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking guy.
This is the most important thing. This is why I wanted to bring up this video and talk about this. I don't think I ever caught that her wife was a former veteran, which is why probably one, you know, they felt they had the I don't call it integrity, because to put your body on the line is like not everybody can do that, but like these are the people, like I don't know how to say it. I don't know the politically correct way to say it, but like we need white women like this to put them to put themselves in harm's way, in order for us to have, in order to get some motion, right? In order for people to actually fucking listen, right? And I think also the fact that her wife was a former veteran adds color to the story, because like we weren't ever going to be scared of these officers, and they knew exactly what their rights were. They weren't just, because I think before a lot of people were saying like, oh, I think like there was an on the ground witness, an eyewitness that like incorrectly aged her. She was like, oh, of course she was scared. She's like a 67-year-old lady or whatever. And I'm like, nah, you know, actually, the agent that apparently even the agent was a veteran too. Like the even though they lived in, you know, woke Minnesota or whatever, these were not the caricature that the right wing media is going to try to make them out to be, that they're snowflakes. Like, I'm not saying they were going to throw hands with them, but they were not going to be intimidated by these agents. So in fact, like so the fact they were acting so calmly was because they actually knew what it was like to be in the heat of battle, in combat, something these cretins, these bedsheet fucking mistakes don't know anything about.
You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
That was Riz though. She cried with that one though. She said, "Go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Hey, yo, take a lap."
Get out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car.
I think about this moment a lot, because what if the wife was in the car? You know, like, in my opinion, I think she doesn't allow, like, it all happened so fast that she's just trying to get out the way, right? She's clearly trying to reverse it to get out the way of these officers, and now they're like descending upon her, which is illegal, what they are not allowed to do. They do not have a warrant, and you do not have to let strange men who don't have any identification and no warrant and no authority into your car. Crazy fun fact, you don't have to do that. But yeah, going back to what the lieutenant had said about why you don't shoot at moving vehicles, like, man, like, that literally could have been that was 2 seconds away from being a double homicide.
Oh
yeah, I just realized.
Okay, it's not clear who uttered those profanities at the end, but a few things I want to point out from this video. Okay, it's not clear who uttered those profanities at the end, but a few things I want to point out from this video. Officer Jonathan Ross, as we mentioned earlier, is filming from a cell phone while this is all happening. We see Ross cross in front of the vehicle while recording. Renee Good addresses Ross's cell phone camera directly from the front seat, smiling. She says, quote, "I'm not mad at you." Ross then circles to the back of the car where he does record Good's license plate. He encounters a woman who's believed to be Renee Good's wife, and after that exchange, the woman attempts to get into the passenger side of the car. Then you hear another officer, as Renee Good's wife is trying to get in, you hear another officer ordering Renee Good to get out of the car. And at this point, Officer Ross is near the front of the vehicle. He's now crossed entirely around the vehicle, still recording on his cell phone. Renee Good appears to turn the wheel all the way to the right, away from Officer Ross.
When you're when you're in danger, guys, I'm asking for a friend. Do you step out of the way of the thing that you're in danger of, walk around it, and then get right back into the path of that danger? Is that what a reasonable person, a person who has an acceptable IQ to be tasked with holding firearms? Is that do you think that's what you would do? I just went to college. I don't know, man.
And where he's recording from his iPhone. She then starts to pull forward. The phone camera jerks around as 3 shots are fired. There were exactly 7 seconds between when Renee Good is ordered to get out of the car and when the shots are fired. So this addresses a few things you're talking about, that in many cases the goal is to get that license plate. He got it. He was around the back of the car, which is better policing practice, going to that back of the car. He already had that. Then he circled the car entirely. She then, Renee Good's wife, gets into the car. She turns, and you see her turning the wheel in the opposite direction to where the ICE officer is.
You know what's interesting about this? We have an officer that's using a cell phone to capture video of the encounter. A lot of police departments use body cams. So for the life of me, I could not understand why ICE was not equipped with body cams, because it provides that lens into what's...
You can't think of any reason why ICE wouldn't need no body cams? So anyway, what I'm really getting towards is that this is an extremely messed up situation, but it's an extremely accurate portrait of what this country has always been, but now it's finally been equal in being applied to all citizens, all residents of the country. And so, my actual question is, and like, yeah, I know it's a little taboo, but like, we're all friends here, and it's Minnesota too. You know, what I feel bad about with Minnesota, because I live in the DMV, right? Like I know there's no way experiments like this could really pop off like that in DC, simply because it would make too many powerful white people sit comfortably in DC to try such an experiment out. You want it to already work before you try to force it in like so close to the seat of power, right? But how are white people gonna respond to this is my question, right? Because for me, like this looks like a white George Floyd situation, Freddie Gray situation. Maybe not Freddie Gray. So like, I think what's good is that, like, before I was like, oh, I expect to see riots or whatever, or else, you know, y'all aren't really gang. But I obviously realize that that's what they want, and I think it's actually a stronger show of solidarity that people are concentrating their anger exactly where it needs to go and not indiscriminately upon like the city, right? Because they understand it is the city itself that's under attack. Which actually is the key thing that's I think that is different between that and like a George Floyd thing. George Floyd was seen as like the police state itself attacking its citizens. This feels like the city itself is under attack by the federal government. Low-key though, as if body cams would have corrected police officer, like no, we just got to put some cameras on them. You know, if they can watch it in 4K. They're definitely not going to jerk off to it. And so my first prediction with this was like, okay, we're really gonna see some progress now, or like this is like, as everybody has been saying, right? This will be a shift in the American mindset about ICE and about the Trump regime at large, because, you know, white men love protecting white women. Like now, all of them apolitical, all those moderates, like they're here. They're like, okay, hold up, you hurting my Princess Peach? You hurting my white damsel in distress? It's go time. I don't like that, sir. But then I realized I might not know white people. So our next video is from Permarose Permaculture. Like, I consider her like my little like white my white hippie auntie. What is this? Ooh, get out the way. Yeah, Park Rose permaculture. I consider her my white hippie auntie. She cool. And when I read the title, I was kind of like, to everyone saying a white woman getting shot in the streets by ICE isn't the catalyst. I actually didn't read the I read the thumbnail of the title, so I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, so maybe, yeah, I do think it won't be the catalyst, but I understand that civil rights often happen, or like progressivism usually happens through interest convergence, aka when the stuff the disenfranchised have always wanted just happens to coincide with what the more powerful rich want right now. They usually slip up and let us get that thing. But Park Rose has, I think, a more clearly, you know, since that, you know, she's a member of this identity group, has a better perspective that made me really called me in to thinking about the role of white women actually in white supremacy and patriarchy. So let's learn a little bit.
Okay, look, I think that there's something that y'all are not understanding about Renee Good's murder by an ICE agent in Minnesota. I'm seeing an awful lot of people saying, well, if they can shoot a white lady in the face in broad daylight, that's going to get a lot of people to flip, right? Or the other thing that people are saying is like, if they can shoot a white lady in the face in broad daylight and get away with it, we're all cooked, right? Sentiments like this one.
I know that this is going to come off so insensitive, but I literally don't know how else to say this. If a white woman can get shot in the face by basically executive order, we are done for. We are done for. If this is not the catalyst to a revolution, this is it.
Okay, one, there's no such thing as it's over and we're cooked, right? That's not a thing. That's apocalyptic thinking, and it's not real. It's not based in reality. But second, no matter which side of that you fall on, either this is the thing that's going to wake MAGA up and they're going to turn against the tyranny of the federal government, or like, oh shit, they're not turning when they see a white woman shot in the face. We're fucked.
My thing, like, auntie, I feel you, but I do. When I first heard it, I was like, well, she's saying we and you saying we are kind of two, like, they might be two different weeks, you know? Because like when I heard homegirl say it, my black instinct was like, yeah, bro, we might be we could be cooked, right? Like, and not all of us, but that means they might try to run back even older scripts, because it's a brand new script for them to just be to be killing a white woman. Like, yeah, she had a wife, but they didn't know that. Like, and maybe they understood, like, when her spouse came in and was like, you know, former fucking military and came in or whatever, like maybe that set off their homophobia or whatever. But I didn't really know. So they kind of just shot a white woman because they didn't fucking like her. They didn't fucking like white women. And if they don't like white women, ooh, how do you feel about us? You know? Like, yeah, like how many more levels? Because Sandy Hook happened. That's my thing, right? Like, I was like Sandy Hook was one of those levels when I was like, damn, okay, like the kid met out. Because we used to be like, the worst thing that could happen is, you know, you shoot a bunch of babies, shoot a bunch of kids. And then he did. And they were like, it wasn't that bad. Nah, I thought it'd be worse. You know? If I didn't realize y'all could not watch the other things. If they are executing damn near perfect victims in broad daylight in 4K and stuff, they adapted and tried spin this. Like that now it's not even about the spin, right? Like we got to stop talking about spin. I don't. What are they trying to spin? Like that has to be a. We got to have a more adult conversation now, don't we? Right. So if they're not trying to spin, then they're making examples, right? Like if they know it's clearly wrong to be shipping people who look brown, even though they're citizens, out the port, and then once they're caught, they stop and then clap about, oh hey, immigration's going down. They didn't fucking lose, right? They put fear into the people they think they want to put fear into. So it's not the spin is not to say we did this legally. The spin is to say we're doing illegal shit, so don't fuck with us, right? Exactly, flying donuts. But we doing the domestic terrorist tactics. Like when they actually literally writing the books in front of us.
Either way, you don't understand how white people think. I really built my main TikTok account before all of this nightmare that we're living now, debunking.
So I'm gonna play some of that back because this is when she responds to what she's saying, and she's like, "I don't think y'all understand how white people work."
Either way, you don't understand how white people think. I really built my main TikTok account before all of this nightmare that we're living now, debunking white supremacist conspiracy theories, particularly those around abducting protected white women and their children for human trafficking. Right? The mom who was snatched out of the.
Wait, is it playing? I feel like it's not playing. I think I just realized, where the hell is this? Bloop bloop. What screen are you capturing? Okay. Yeah, what the hell? Let's see. This screen share.
The detergent.
You're not moving. That doesn't make sense. Wait a minute. Oh, that's why. Okay, well then what the hell? What the hell have I been showing? Screen.
Aisle at Target.
Okay. I don't know how that being so weird.
The mom who claimed that her daughter was.
Okay. Take two. Okay, I want to be able to see everything. Bloop bloop. Okay, you and you and you. See what chat is saying. Whiteness cards are revoked by the fascist state at their whim. Don't sleep. I actually do believe, I'll say this, we'll talk about this later. I think Legal Eagle did do like a report card, like a progress report on Project 2025. Because that's what I'm saying, right? Like we keep acting like they're trying to spin things, they're trying to trick us. They're not trying to trick shit. That's the strength of their strategy. They're just saying we're mean. It's very realpolitik, right? It's just saying we have power. We have power. Fuck with us at your own risk, because you literally don't know how far we'll go, especially now that we know we're like this is our last call. I want to make sure I get her name right. Park Rose, yeah. Park Rose permaculture often brings up this concept of like the extinction burst, and I really do. It definitely makes a lot of things make sense. That like we have to remember that this arc of politics that we're in is very much just a response from how much I don't want to call it a win or lose, but how much we progressed, or how much some groups progressed in. Oh Lord, I just realized you guys also don't see me now. Where'd I go? Where am I? Okay, but anyway, you guys hear my voice. But it's definitely the fact that they're trying to say, hey, we're mean, fuck with that at our own risk. We're going out with a bang. So in response to all of this progress that we made, there we go. In response to all the progress that we made, we're gonna try to claw back as much as the old ways we can, but it's not gonna work because we did like the progress. Also, Cam James. Shout out Cam James one time. 2026, inshallah, I'm gonna have him on the show. Anybody who's fans of Cam James, tell him to be in contact with me. I would love to talk to him about scams and black culture. Sharon, you put the wrong link. That was my second channel. All right. Run it back one more time.
Account before all of this nightmare that we're living now. This is the thing that's going to wake MAGA up, and they're going to turn against the tyranny of the federal government. Or like, oh shit, they're not turning when they see a white woman shot in the face. We're fucked. Either way, you don't understand how white people think. I really built my main TikTok account before all of this nightmare that we're living now, debunking white supremacist conspiracy theories, particularly those around abducting protected white women and their children for human trafficking. Right? The mom who was snatched out of the detergent aisle at Target, the mom who claimed that her daughter was almost kidnapped out of an Old Navy in order to be trafficked. And I think that those conspiracy theories have perpetuated this belief that white men actually care about white women, that they actually care about protecting white women. White men love to commit violence against women, and they kind of like watching other white men commit violence against women.
Like when she said that, I was like, wait, bro, you're actually so right though. I did miss that one little quirk. Like who actually like they say they want to protect white women, but low-key, who be perpetrating the most the most white woman violence? It's not us.
All of those conspiracy theories, all of this part of the patriarchy of like, we have to protect our women, we have to defend our women, including all of the like transphobic, we have to protect women from trans people in women's bathrooms. All of these trafficking conspiracy theories were about protecting white women from black and brown men. All of those narratives, like you can go back and watch all my old videos. All of these conspiracy theories revolve around black and brown men kidnapping white women and white children. They were never actually about protecting white women at all. What they were about was giving white men, one, an excuse to brutalize Black and brown men. If you portray all Black and brown men as what? As what? Violent sex offenders who want to rape your women, then you have an awful lot of
big emphasis on your property, on the women that you have the God-given right to own, right? Like, I'm gonna let her finish before I think I say my spiciest take.
room to assault them, to dehumanize them, to commit violence against them, to abduct them and stuff them into concentration camps. Do you understand? The second part of that is that if white women are perpetually at risk of being victimized by everybody else in society, if white women could be abducted from Target parking lots, abducted from the Costco detergent aisle, that creates a narrative where we are constantly in a heightened state of anxiety. We have to be hyper vigilant. We have to be fearful of everybody else around us, especially Black and brown people who otherwise would be our allies, and we would be in solidarity.
And we would be in solidarity with white women if they understood, right, that they also were on the chopping block, right? But because they don't understand, I was talking to my friend Ghost Star about this last night, that the type of white women that we're talking about, right? Like, not all not all white women, right? But you know, some of y'all, Sharon, example of S plus model of a cool white woman, right? Not the anti Sharons in the crowd, right? Or not in the crowd, not in our crowd. They would never be in our crowd. But like in your everyday neighborhood, don't understand when we're talking about what we're talking about with their white woman privilege is probably the flip side of the coin they feel of being used as an object of like fetishization by their own white men, right? White women to white men are really no different than hunting game, right? You want to protect your game because, you know, you want to shoot as many deer as possible, but you're not protecting the deer to take care of the deer. It's just because you want the autonomy and like the you want the autonomy to shoot as many deer as you want. You don't want no Mexicans shooting up all the good deer. Women could not have their own credit card or checking account, could not even buy their own house without a man before 74 in the United States. Like, my father emigrated here in 78. They couldn't own their own home without a man before 74. My father emigrated here in 74. He has grandkids. This is within a grandfather's lifetime. You know, like, white men ain't ever fucked with white women like that. And we know this. But sometimes we like to cope and say, like, okay, it's kind of what we were saying before. Let me see if our favorite is that. I think like some very insightful person in the chat had said it, that, you know, what's the new line? We're always looking for the new line. Before Sandy Hook, we thought it was children. And now we kind of want it to be white women. We're like, hey, they can't shoot their own, right? They can't kill their own and not feel a way about it. And now we're realizing, like, nope, they're still stratified. I think it's first world syndrome. A lot of people are never thought of these sort of authoritarian things could happen here, let alone that the country was founded on genocide and slavery in the first place. That's a bar. Wait, I really... Okay, yeah. Yo, I think y'all hear that. Did y'all hear the sound effect? Actually, let me try it now. You could cook that.
with them against a shared oppressor. So that oppressor has to create a narrative that makes us fearful of those people and never be able to connect with them. And likewise, requires us to take up an awful lot of bandwidth, being hypervigilant all the time, worried that everybody out there is going to assault and victimize and abduct and traffic us. It is a very easy way that white men can justify isolating and controlling women. It also justifies, like, all of the patriarchy. They need to be controlling. They need to protect us, right? They need to keep us safe. Wow, it sounds an awful lot like the Trump regime. They have to take away more and more of our rights. They have to put ICE goons in our cities to protect us, to keep us safe from anybody who is black and brown, anybody who is an immigrant, anybody who is here from Somalia, who is here from Central and South America, anybody who isn't another white man. They've got to take away our rights in order to keep us safe. What the regime is doing is that wonderful utilization of that trifecta of oppression that has been omnipresent in the US this whole time. The patriarchy, white supremacy, and capitalism. It's just they've just cranked it up to 11. But when you see ICE agents...
Sorry. Oh God, I really get how Feek sounds. How Feek feels.
Shooting white...
I realized it's because I had all system audio on, even though shit was supposed to have echo cancellation. My fault, y'all. Thank you, IT crowd. IT mind.
This whole time. Who is here from Central and South America? Anybody who isn't another white man. They've got to take away our rights in order to keep us safe. What the regime is doing is that wonderful utilization of that trifecta of oppression that has been omnipresent in the US this whole time. The patriarchy, white supremacy, and capitalism. It's just they've just cranked it up to 11. But when you see ICE agents shooting white women in the face, that's not going to flip white men, especially because that's just the embodiment of a system, that trifecta system that they benefit from, they want to reinforce, and they like enjoy violence against women. And so you might ask, well, what about MAGA women? What about them?
They low-key enjoy violence against women. We know this. This is why we are concerned about incel. This is why we're concerned about, like, the American Psychos and the Jokers, like impact on media. We all have this very uncomfortable realization that something about white masculinity, not something, it's the authoritarian nature of it, sees or accepts the limitations of emotionality bestowed on to men, like accepts the fact that in exchange for ultimate power and an assumed divine right, let's say, you lose access to practice any of your other emotions except anger and rage, right? And so they say, hey, that means my right as a man, since I have committed to being a good man, I will monopolize violence. So anytime I see violence, I'm not seeing anything that needs to make me question my morality or my worldview or whether or not I agree with the direction the violence is going on the face of it. I simply need to make a determination on power. Like, is the correct person practicing power? Then that's just life. That's just hierarchy. That's just patriarchy.
Is this gonna...
Also, we officially do have BRG, Black Red Guard in the green room. So we're gonna blast off with that in about 2 minutes. We are gonna get through the video. I'm gonna not pause anymore. We'll let it finish out, and then we'll have final thoughts. Actually, I'll bring them on, and then we'll maybe talk about this.
cause them to peel off from MAGA? Is this going to be the final straw for them? They saw another woman shot in the face. Is this the thing that gets them to abandon the cult? And unfortunately, I don't think you understand how white women who are deeply indoctrinated in the patriarchy and white supremacy are. So many white women feel that if they go along with white supremacy, if they go along with the patriarchy, they can carve out a little bit of safety and protection for themselves. This is the reason that White Woman Whisperer says that white women are the men of women. White women will throw everybody else under the bus to try and create a little bit of safety for them in a system where they know that they're being oppressed by men, where they are fearful of men. White women will put on this performance. They will simp for their oppressors. They will be complicit in their own oppression in every single way because they're operating out of this mindset that they will be a little bit safer under the patriarchy if they go along with white supremacy and they go along with the patriarchal system. And that's a lie. They've been indoctrinated to not be able to see that there's freedom on the other side, right? Deconstructing from white supremacy and the patriarchy and capitalism. There's freedom on the other side for women. They've been told their whole lives that the best you can do is try to keep yourself as safe as possible within this system where you are oppressed. So no, unfortunately, I don't think that for people who are deeply, deeply entrenched in MAGA, I don't think for most of them, seeing a white woman shot in the face is going to cause them to flip. I don't think that that's going to be a final straw for very many people. I also think, this crowd, the type who believe in these trafficking conspiracy theories, that would be evangelical Americans, LDS Americans, who buy into all of this, like we got to protect our women. Women are the weaker vessel. Women have to be cherished. There are set gender roles. There's federal headship. Whatever they believe about submission of women to men, all of that bullshit. This is also the same kind of subculture that has been taught to suppress empathy. They've been denied chances to cultivate the skill of empathy, and also you're seeing more and more from evangelical America this framing of empathy as a weakness, as a sin, which is weird because that's what Elon Musk says. He's definitely not a Christian, right? He says that our greatest weakness as humans is our sense of empathy. So you combine that, like, white men have no problem with violence against women. White women have been indoctrinated to believe that they have to throw other women under the bus in order to carve out some measure of comfort for themselves in a patriarchal system, and maybe some safety, although there's no real, hey ladies, there's no safety for you in a system of white supremacy and patriarchy. I promise you, been there, done that. There is no safety for you. Yeah, ladies, we wish that you could see that what happened to Renee means that you can be shot in the face in broad daylight by an ICE agent who will get away with it, never get justice. Your children will be orphaned. You will never be safe in this system. But unfortunately, I think most of y'all won't see that coming out of this. You will find justifications to make sure that you continue to uphold your worldview, that if you throw people like Renee under the bus, if you come up with excuses about why she deserved it, then you will stay safe, especially if you perform for white men in the system. This little display of like, well, she had pronouns in her Instagram bio. Oh, she clearly deserved it. She clearly must have done something wrong. If you think that you do that performance for white men in the system and that will make you safe, you're deluding yourselves. But to anybody who thinks that what happened to Renee is going to get white MAGAs to flip, I don't think that that's the thing for many of them, unfortunately. Okay, look, I think
so yeah. I think that was actually let me see. Hold up. Okay. Very professional. We're very professional over here. Full start screen. Aha. Okay. Yeah, I think what I think I can always, or no, I think I also agree with what Julian is saying over here. Like in a sense, using the black woman as using black woman's TikTok as a jumping off point kind of muddles what I think she's trying to say a little bit. Because once again, that universal we was doing way too much work, and she wouldn't notice that so much because maybe not to say she's not a community with black people. I don't know so much about her. I know she's cool in the streets, but it just kind of is what it is. But honestly, absolutely no one is saying. Wait, hold on. Actually, why'd you say that, Julian? Was somebody saying that? Anyway, I I got a special guest. Got a special guest to put on. Um, to introduce to you guys. Uh, you know, Empathy Hour is a show in which we endeavor to finally write a good uh intro for it, and one day we're gonna get that in 2026. I promise you guys, on my mothers. But it's mostly a little podcast where I can talk to uh, my friends, people that I like the work of, people that are much smarter than me, because uh, for the first time ever, you're gonna have a black man with a mic who listens. And so today, I, as we saw in the pre-show, have been noticing the world is doing a little bit of a crumbling. I've been like, Mom, the world is crumbling again. Can you come pick me up? Because it seems like there are darker days ahead. We got Venezuela. We got them bombing my fucking homeland, Nigeria. Greenland is now in play. Don't know what the fuck we're doing there. And they also shut down fucking PBS, and that was my last fucking straw. You know, I'm a sitcom kid. I'm a basic cable kid. I grew up on the Caillou, grew up on the Clifford. Y'all, man, y'all like the Clifford. Y'all don't know about my puppy named Clifford. Y'all don't know about that shit. But now they're shutting that down. So things are getting dark. So I wanted to talk to someone who's also looking at the future that I see, and it isn't cowering between their fingers like me. Black Red Guard is an organizer and DSA member from St. Louis who also makes educational videos about revolutionary science. I fucking love his channel. He's done videos on the failure that is the Democratic Party, debunking black capitalism, as well as why America needs socialism like bad, like bad, like the food RFK feeds his brainworms. So I really hope you guys give a good Black Bird Color Mind welcome as I have him on the show. Not really sure what we're gonna talk about yet, because when you get two intellectual black men together, you never know what insights are gonna come. So you guys, let's give a big round of applause for BRG, because I know, nope, I did it wrong. I'm sorry. I'm adding you like this. Haha! I did it. Are you heard? You're not heard yet. Give me a second. People? I think I can, okay. I hear you now?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. You know, how did I know before you said it that you're Nigerian?
What you mean?
I'm not like one of those, oh yeah, I can always tell a tether types. But like no, because most African Americans actually have Nigerian blood. And like it's obvious just by how we carry ourselves. Like for one, we're obsessed with fucking clothes, just like y'all.
Facts.
And like just the music, the um the dances, like all this stuff goes right back to the motherland. That's why I laugh at those people. Like, oh, we ain't Africans, we Native Americans, we
Hey,
Moors. It's like
the
you
more
hate,
crazy.
yeah, the Moorish. And that's actually a splinter sect from the Nation of Islam. But like, I get where all those groups come from. Like, especially in the early 20th century, there are a lot of cults like that because as a people that have had our history stolen, like we weren't taught that we were Yoruba or Igbo or Fulani or Manding or any of this. We just taught we niggas. So violently separated from our homeland. Our homeland was stolen, and like people that go through that type of generational trauma, like studies have been done which show that that we as a people, we still carry the psychological legacy of our slaving, of our mafa, of this horrible passage across the Atlantic. All this stuff still plays on our brains today, and all these health problems. Like, and black people really dislike, especially men. We hate talking about mental health. That's seen as being something that's for weak white folks. But like, it's essential that we actually begin to unpack and struggle with the horrible shit that's been done and continues to be done to us. Because like ain't nobody super nigga. Like
Right.
you're gonna end up like when you package all this stuff away, you're gonna crash out. And yeah, that's why like I'm a big advocate of black men going to therapy. Like there's plenty of black therapists. Like you don't have to go spill your guts to white folks who don't give a shit. Like and that's something that we need to do for us. Like we carry the revolutionary movement on our backs, and yep, I mean that burden gets tiresome. So you have to find a community. You have to find a community of care. That's why, like, of course, I'm not talking about like liberal self care. Oh yeah, let's go to Dubai for self care. That type of happy horse shit. But like, I'm a big advocate. I constantly tell black comrades, black organizers, that you got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of yourself. You can't do for everybody else, and you at zero battery. Because that's if you crash out, if you snap, you really ain't gonna be much use to the movement. But thanks for having me on, bro.
No, for sure, man. And I think that's a great. I think that's a great opening because it shows how much we're aligned, right? I'm actually working right now on this video on. So you're from St. Louis, but you live in Wale?
I know who?
Wale?
Wally?
Yeah.
Yeah, the rapper. Yeah, I know Wally.
Yeah, no, but I like so right now I'm working on this video trying to review his latest album, but through this idea of black masculinity and love. Because I was rereading The Will to Change Bell Hooks on my non-performative blackmailship. And I had realized she said something in chapter 1 where she's like it's easier in America to talk about sex than it is to talk about love, and like that sounds like saying like water is wet and shit, right? But uh it I realized it like while listening to an album and then reading that, I was like, man, I feel like to back up, Wale's latest album, Everything's a Lot, is quite good. It's quite good from a rapper from the Big Three era that I don't think we always like pay a lot of mind to, myself included. I forgot. And that nigga's literally a DMV Nigerian American. Like he's literally my Super Saiyan version. But I think part of that is because we are very uncomfortable trying to deal with men dealing with feelings. Did that make sense? Right? Like
Yeah,
we are we really want to, but because it's kind of like trying to speak Spanish to somebody who just took like Spanish 2 in high school. It's like he might be really
yeah,
eager to like to talk like football with you, but you know he's not gonna articulate the way you need him to, and I I often want to dissect that because that's a two-sided coin, right? That's both in the statement, hey, black men need to go to therapy, and also, oh, okay, but also when black men start actually trying to work through their feelings in a sloppy way, we don't know we don't necessarily know what to do with it. At the timeout, oh wait, not at the timeout. What I also want to get you to do is give yourself a little bit more of an introduction to the about 30 people that we had in here, because I really want to know want them to know what you're all about. And I do apologize because I'm like reading the chat and this is very very embarrassing on my part, but I mistagged you and I
well,
tagged black red guard. No, black red black green red, or something happened. No, I tagged the right person.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
We'll live.
shit.
I'll live.
Yeah.
What's up, y'all? So thanks again to the brother for having me on. But yeah, I'm Black Red Guard. Y'all can also call me Chris. But yeah, I'm an organizer with St. Louis chapter DSA. I've been in DSA for joined in August of 2023.
Also,
So I've been in
real quick, Chris, your camera's just a little bit off centered the way that we got the cam positioned. Oh, God, I did the wrong thing again. Go back. Okay. are you still? You're still off. Stop doing that. Oh God, what happened?
What did you do?
The stem shit is so anti-black. Okay, okay. Now move your camera more,
Which way?
more that way. There we go.
I don't look. You just want me to see so people can see how much of a fucking star I live in.
Stop. No.
Yeah,
No. So people can see people see your beautiful face. All right, keep going. There we go.
yeah. I'm gonna blind people with my bald head. But yeah. I'm Black Red Guard. Like I said, 30 seconds ago. I'm a member of STL DSA, have been for 3 years. I am our political education co-chair, which basically means that my nerd ass tries to turn our comrades into nerds because political education is important. Like, we have people that are going around calling themselves socialists without knowing what socialism is. Socialism is not reforms. It's not, okay, somebody gets elected and they hand out free shit. Socialism is when the working class, you and me, is in control because we make the world's wealth. Like Elon Musk, Donald Trump, uh, none of these people produce anything. The world would not be able to survive without working class people. The bourgeoisie, that's the class that does nothing but own the means of production. They're parasites. They live off the backs of the people that produce. Going back to history, this country was literally built up by enslaved Africans, people who were stolen from our homeland, to be the first proletariat in this country, the people who have nothing to lose but their chains. Black people were the original proletarians in the United States because if we have nothing to lose but our chains, then I would say that the proletariat definitely qualifies as the people that had literal chains and shackles on their feet, who did
I mean,
all of
lumpen proletariat.
yeah, lumpen proletariat as well. That's actually a German term that means broken proletariat. And a lot of people misunderstand the lumpen. When they hear lumpen, they think of all negative things. They think of people out on the corner selling fentanyl. They think of, yes, those people do qualify as part of the lumpen proletariat. But the most important socialist organization in American history, the Black Panther Party, actually made a point of organizing the lumpen first and foremost because their ideology held that the working class, the brothers that went in and punched the clock at the factory every day, they were they were too caught up in their job to actually like make revolution.
No,
But of
I,
course, of course,
or
we
not
know
agree.
that.
Hmm.
Yeah, and of course, like to a certain extent, especially with regards to the unions, there's a really really good book. It's called um, it's called Blue Collar Empires by a guy named Jeff Shirky, and he literally talks about in his book how the American labor movement, your AFL-CIO, or known to us in the movement as the AFL-CIA, literally went around from country to country undermining other people's working class movements. So yes, that history is very true, but also at the same time, um, proletariat, the working class, is still going to be the main force of the revolution because they are situated in such a way that if they quit, then this whole thing is going upside down. So that's where revolutionary socialist power is derived. Of course, we can't just be workerists and fetishize everything the worker class does, especially the white working class, which is, as we both know, extremely conservative, voted for Trump, um, and have a whole bunch of other issues going on with them that have not necessarily wholly foreclosed the possibility of them engaging in revolution because as a dialectical materialist, basically somebody that believes that class struggle is the motor of history and things are constantly in motion, nobody is ever inherently anything. For example, a lot of those people that are throwing down in Minneapolis against ICE are white people. The comrade who was murdered, um, Renee Good, rest in power, was a
Hmm.
white woman. So I would like I get it. Like I get why a lot of brothers and sisters do not want anything to do with white people whatsoever because, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of mental trauma. And Comrade Elder Kwame Ture, also known as Stokely Carmichael, like
Hey,
he literally said, He literally said that
Oh,
oh yeah, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. So anyways, brother said that like we cannot have white people going through the black community trying to organize our communities because for one, like it's not gonna work. Like there's already a power imbalance. Like a lot
mhm.
of black people already have inferiority complexes with regards to white people. So it's for our psychological well-being that we have to organize our own communities. Just like me, I would not. I, as a black person, of course, if a Latino comrade says, "Hey, DSA has resources that we can use to help," I mean, that we can use to help get our people together and help stop these ICE raids. Definitely, I'll be first and foremost to contribute. But going of my own free will into a barrio in Los Angeles and be like, I'm here to organize you all. That's just not done. Like I know better. And so it's not a segregationist thing, but nobody knows the concrete conditions of a particular community like the people that actually live in and are of that community. But at
No,
the
yeah,
same time,
it's like the difference
six
between.
seven.
Okay,
Why did you
all right,
do that?
but like neither one of us have the right to do that. Honestly, I mean, I guess it's still from Black culture, so I guess we do. But like I think we're both like at least double the average range, double the average age, or being able to say that.
Jesus Christ, how
It,
old do you think I
and
am? I'm 31, bro.
I'm 29. All right, yeah, there we go. I got that. Like 15.
Yeah,
I don't think
yeah,
you shouldn't be older than 15. Like doing that earnestly, bro. Now,
yeah.
did I
We'll
do
see.
that on the internet for like 20,000 people? Of course, but what won't a bag
Yeah,
do?
yeah.
That being said, thank God I wrote that down because you almost made me forget my thought now. It reminds me of a while ago when there was like this trend online about like like black people having low racial self-esteem. And the reason why I bring that up, right, is this idea between um this idea between, oh, you don't like, oh, it's not that I don't want to work with white people, is that like we know what's best for us. And there is a difference between the idea of like solidarity across class lines and like having high racial self-esteem that allows you to
Mhm.
know, okay, yeah, like first and foremost, my black proletariat understands the conditions of my black working class. And through us having an organized and sound position or framework on that, it makes it easier and less likely that a white vanguard can come in and say, hey, here's the resources and tools and the knowledge. We're just going to give it all to you. And then now we can all be equal, but you end up in the same master subordinate dynamic because, well,
Yeah,
your vanguards end up being highly educated white people, right? Not because, not for, not in this case, not in any devious sense, but it is because it's not necessarily the most effective thing all the time to outsource the hardworking revolution to people outside the community.
yeah. Because nobody really has your interests at heart other than you and your people. Like, and then I laugh at the notion of a white vanguard. Like they literally, like, okay, if there's such a strong white vanguard that is communist, socialist, anarchist, or whatever, then why did so many white people vote for Trump twice? Like, why are like y'all are always running like I always see people on the internet trying to tell the Palestinians what to do. Like, oh my God, Hamas is so bad. I'm like, bro, you try living in a fucking open air concentration camp. See what you do. Like, who are you to criticize people trying to get free when for one our country's military and tax dollars support that stuff, so we have blood on our hands too as Americans. And then like who the fuck are you to tell these people how to get free? And it's just the arrogance that I think like they try to do the same thing during the Black Liberation Movement. Like how the fuck? Like, and no, I'm not. I don't think all white people are the enemy. But how the fuck do you think that you, as somebody that greatly resembles the enemy, that profits off the exploitation of my people, who the fuck do you think you are to tell me what to do? Look, if an average white person went through the stress that a Palestinian or a black person, and they will tell you this if they're being completely honest, which is very rare for white people, but they will tell you, yeah, bro, I would have crashed out a long time ago. Like just day to day life of being a black person in this country or being a
being
Palestinian.
to
And
deal with like double consciousness, being perceived at that level.
yeah,
I mean, so it even kind of goes before the show. It's still not the same at all. But I don't know if you caught before the show. We were watching uh some person explain white woman psychology, the Renee Good situation, and people saying like, oh, okay, well, you know, if we're killing white women now, we're cooked. You know, like, oh, we're either cooked or now is about to set it off, right? Because you know, white men love protecting white women, and then like the creator who herself was a white woman was like, I don't think you understand how whiteness works because they do not, in fact, love white women. That's actually not how our solidarity is made up. Like they
it's
perpetrate them.
basically
They're
the
equal in
relationship. I would compare the relationship between white men and white women to like Stockholm syndrome, like a hostage situation. Like
Mhm.
those ICE people, like those big burly ass white dudes that peaked in Fallujah that you see going around. Like you look at their chat room and all that. Like you look at the stuff they say to each other. They absolutely despise women. They hate women. Like 40% of these people are have admitted to beating their spouses, and like there's a contradiction there. I mean, there is a contradiction between men and women because men exploit women. And that's patriarchy, for domestic labor, for a variety of other things. But yeah, like whiteness in general, it's like a hostage relationship. Like, okay, they're basically gilded hostages. Of course, many of these people know exactly what they're doing, and they're sadists that enjoy being brutal, enforcing brutality on people. But by and large, average, everyday, ordinary white person, they really don't like these people. Obviously, they don't get checks in the mail. Yay, you're white. But like
Yeah, yeah.
it's like a psychological thing. I think LBJ, it was him who said that if you give the lowest, meanest white person somebody to look down upon, they'll ignore you while you're taking the money out their wallet.
Exactly. And I think that's where that miscommunication, which like is one sad, but also becomes like I think our it is the opening for where a rainbow coalition happens, right? Like dismantling this core truth. Because what I came to realize last night is like there is only one true like race, like master race. And it requires I think five things. I think I counted five things. But you have to be them in this order. You need to be old money. No, sorry. Male, white, old money, currently rich. We're going to figure out an acronym for that race later. But that is the actual true master race. If you are that, then like you are like you are at the top of the hierarchy, hierarchy, and no one can be racist to you. If any one of those pieces change, you really aren't actually white at the end of the day, right? Like whiteness are the five things I truly talked about because whenever if you're even 4 out of 5 of those things, someone can still get you. Someone who has older money, who is richer, who can be claimed to be more masculine, can suddenly invalidate your whiteness even if before you were white.
Yeah,
And
like JD Vance. By that category, JD Vance isn't even white. His mom sold him for a Percocet.
like, and they'll get him for that. Like one day when they need to get to get JD out, they'll be like, actually, oh, well, now that all the poor whites are gone, like, like now we only want people who've been rich before the revolution happened. So JD, all that hick stuff, bro, like then don't you got like several incest cousins? Yeah, bro. Yo, oh my god, I forgot to bring this up during the pre-show. I saw. Now we got to talk about this. Maybe I'll write. Nah, fuck, we on the ADHD time. You probably didn't watch it, and I respect you that you didn't because I can see why it would piss you off a lot. But did you watch one battle after another?
I haven't gotten to it yet.
I saw last night on a whim with my friend Ghost Star. That movie is good. I'm not gonna hold you. That movie is a 3.2 out of 5, which longtime fans would know what the tile star system is. But this means that it is an average movie that's a little bit better. I see, but I took a while to like get to it because I didn't have time to go watch the movie. And then I heard everybody say like, oh, the first 20 minutes are really rough. I saw like FD make a video. Then I saw like stuff about black women in there. I was like, you know what? I'm seeing this controversy about a white man directing a movie that has a black girl in it, a black woman in it. I'm gonna chill. But now I got to it. And like, what am I talking about this? The reason why I'm talking about this is that ultimately this is a story about like it's a story about community like fighting a military occupation. And what it shows is main character being Leonardo DiCaprio is like Leonardo DiCaprio. Actually, I'm totally sorry. I totally fucking forgot my
They
point.
still this still putting his old ass in stuff.
They is for no reason like that. Like he's fine in them. He's fine. He's fine in that movie. I guess I wanted to talk something about like the revolutionary aspect of it.
Hey, give me all the spoilers. Give me all the spoilers.
No. I'm not even giving no spoiler because this show, the movie doesn't. The movie is what a movie's supposed to be, which is a series of incredibly entertaining scenes put together with a budget that only like rich people have. Back to richness. There we go. Oh yeah, okay. So not to spoil it, but it's very obvious that this movie is, in a sense, a internal dialogue that Paul Thomas Anderson, who's a very very white man, who's married to Maya Rudolph, a black woman, his like feelings about that. Like, how does he feel about the fact that he's married to a black woman and that like he probably fetishizes that a little bit, or he has to work through that or something like that.
All of them do.
And,
Like
and
all of them do.
and to land this
It's
plane, basically they end he ends up there's a very minor plot line when they're like, so like, did you sleep with a black woman? And then homeboy was like, I would rather, he didn't say this, so I'm not spoiling a lot because it's way much more funny what he says. Like, bro, I would rather have a crocodile cut off my dick and then feed it to me than have somebody believe that. And like the last scene, he was very much not having that opinion. And so that means even though this person was white, he's straight, he was a military man, he was rich. But there's still something higher. I guess why I wouldn't say all that. I forgot where we were going with that.
and that's capitalism imperialism for you. Capitalism imperialism for you. Like there's always somebody higher up on higher up on the pecking order. For example, Donald Trump. Like yeah, he's rich, but he's still kraut new money. Like you have people like the Saltonstalls. You have people whose ancestors came over here on the Mayflower who are like literal fucking slave owners. Like Trump's heritage, his um his great grandfather was a pimp that was fleeing the draft
Nice.
in Germany. Came over here and he was out in Alaska. He was basically a pimp and a grifter. So that shit runs in his family tree. But like most of the new money people, I mean most of the old money people, they look down on people like Trump. He's garish. He's loud. He doesn't. He's horrible with money. He wastes his money. He's always talking about how much money he has. Like as you know, actual. I mean, you stay in D.C., so I'm pretty sure you've known a lot of old money type folks. Like one thing about them, they don't have to brag about how much money they got. Like you want to know how much money I got? Look for my name in Forbes. Yeah, that's my granddaddy. Oh, you went to school there? Yeah, my people have buildings named after us. Like
Like, oh, you like yeah,
somebody
that's
could
all.
be from somebody could be from one of the oldest families and like black people we know new money because we used to work in there. I mean we know old money because like we used to be the people that worked in their houses and shit. That's where like all these old Victorian manors and shit come from. All this like especially a lot of the older heads among us, like the way that they dress and like their obsession with like decency and purity and all that. Like we learned that shit around Master's table or working for rich white folks in the houses. So we know how to people. But like old rich white dude like from money that's had money for a long time, like them dudes drive an old beat up car. They'll wear old raggedy clothes that they bought back in 1978. They get their shit repaired. Then you look at their house, it's a fucking 150-year-old mansion. That's how they live. Trump is
And,
like an enigma to them. Trump is the help.
mhm. Right, and when you think about it, it's like because so in the last video that we did, going concern, we talked about this idea of plutonomy, which is a combination of plutocracy, the rule of the elite, and an economy. And I remember I came across this PBS interview, because they were describing like a K-shaped economy, which is like what we're in now, which is when wealth inequality after recovery of some sort like basically diverges really, really widely. And what you notice when you talk to like these old boomers that have money, like both old money, but like let's call them quiet money millionaires, the reason they're rich in their and they aesthetically look like that is because they know the truth about wealth. That like wealth isn't in consumables. It's like always in asset ownership, right? Like
Yeah,
what actually makes you sustainably rich in a way that you can feel comfortable so much
your
that you don't
money
even
your
rich,
money multiplies. Your
right?
money
Like
multiplies. That's what differentiates between having a well-paying job and not having to work. Like
mm,
there are people with well-paying jobs that are still working class, like pretty much everybody in a union. But like people that have, and it's very, very like people say that there's not a black bourgeoisie because like because bourgeoisie is actually owning ownership. That's the key to wealth in a capitalist society. So like you look at most of the wealthy black people, they're musicians and actors and sports. Okay, neither one of those things necessarily makes you bourgeoisie because none of these people. Well, let me walk that back. You got your Jordans, you got those types that retire or they invest while they're playing. So that makes them bourgeois. But the key to being bourgeois is ownership. If you don't own nothing, like if you don't own nothing that can make your money multiply, then you ain't really rich. Like you can,
right. You're
and then a lot,
for
and then a
money
lot.
all the time.
Then the thing with a lot of these guys is that they as my grandma used to say, they ain't used to shit. Like they go and they waste all their money in crypto
Yeah, yeah.
schemes,
I've never been nowhere.
cryptos. Yeah, crypto scams. They're all on yachts that they leased in Dubai, which you should not go to, which is a genocidal country. Shout out to our brothers and sisters in Sudan. But yeah, do not go to Dubai. But like they waste it. They get their hook their homies all up with houses. Always into like that's not have like you said, it's consumable. It's fleeting, ephemeral pleasure. Whereas the old money, yeah, they go to their little soirees and parties and stuff like that. But in the meantime, like, and this is like they train their family from the cradle. They train their kids to know this is how we got this. This is how we're gonna keep this. Look at their marriages. They don't just hop up and marry anybody. Like you is not marrying into one of those families if you ain't coming with some paper or they don't know who you are. You got to be in the social register. Otherwise, like yeah, like and the thing about like they will cut you out of their will for nothing. Like as they
Like
basically
not
embody
even
the
not even not
notion.
right. Like not even not for nothing. It's just business. Is
Yeah,
like the way in which they think is like even though they try to force the nuclear family on everyone else, they really don't even see the family or nuclear. They see it much more collectively, like much more generationally, right? Saying like, well, we're thinking long term. I mean, I can't have you messing up my bloodline. Like as a person who out of school, my degree is in accounting and finance. So out of school, I did public accounting, and I'm looking at the books and I'm sitting in some of these meetings, especially within wealth management and real estate. Yeah, like the things they are actually worried about, like, or it's not even things they're worried about. The things they're paying me to worry about, right, are just massively different than what I have to do with my own budget because I'm not thinking about how 1031 exceptions are gonna make it so hey maybe actually we are gonna take that vacation to Milan because if we stay out of the country enough, we can get a tax credit that'll make it so when we are giving money to our nonprofit that we use literally just so we can launder money, like it looks better. It looks better to the IRS.
and
Um,
that's something that I keep trying to like. These laws was made by the rich. That's why reformism does not work. Because as Andre Lord said, you're not going to take down the master's house with master's tools. Like that's why when I see people talking about,
let me cut you off right there because I have a great question that's probably gonna include your answer. Um, when we think about reforms and like right now, obviously both our audiences Your audience is probably like only slightly more radical than mine, but like let's be real, like we're all socialists, like socialist plus over here. Um, what is the Maoist position on elections? Because I that's currently probably my most contentious argument with a lot of would be like comrades per se. Like I personally am not a I have a very I think I'm very blasé opinion on elections insofar as like I go to them. You know, I was raised in a household where like you go vote. I don't find it to be that arduous of a thing. And yet I don't, but I'm not gonna hop on no hill to say that voting is gonna fix our problems at this point. However, like I can't help but want to see the upside or feel or want to have a better dialogue on like how to talk about
like
voting. I kind of want
like
to.
as
I feel like
like as somebody with like my grandma was born in 1936 in Mississippi. So like back in that time, like you try to vote when my grandma was 18 years old, you was liable to get shot. I was reading earlier about Vernon Dahmer. He was independent black businessman in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Man was trying to register folks to vote. The KKK burned his house down, and his family got out okay, but he died from smoke inhalation. So like our ancestors, our people made many sacrifices for us to be able to use the ballot. But I'm with Malcolm. Like we don't cast ignorant, stupid votes or listen to bullshit. Like if we vote, and the Maoist position on elections is um, Jose Maria Sison was a really good Filipino organizer. He was the founder of the Communist Party of the Philippines, and he said that like because there was a trend a while back of like Maoists shouting "Don't vote, revolt" and graffitiing it on Vacos in the hood, and like guess what? Mom and them still went out to vote. Granny and them still went out to vote. People were like, "Oh yeah, that's them crazy ass white boys riding on the church again." So like we cannot wish cast our way into revolution. Millions of people in the United States they engage with elections. They still see it as a valid vehicle for them to express their grievances. If a politician does something shitty, vote him out of office. But at the same time, have to realize that elections in this capitalist system are still thoroughly within the bounds established by the rich. And now you have the frequent gerrymandering, like for example, a congresswoman in St. Louis, Cori Bush. Her seat was literally bought and paid for by APAC, and now Wesley Bell occupies that seat, but we're trying to get her back in her seat this year. That's the big thing. And Corey is a good, really great fighter. Came from the working class. She grew up in Pine Lawn, if I recall correctly, a working class black suburb of St. Louis. So she's for the people. She's nurse, preschool teacher, pastor. Um, Everybody knows her from Ferguson. She was out there. So she has movement credentials. But at the same time, having Cori Bush in office is it's not necessarily the be all end all of a revolution. Would I like to see her back in her seat as opposed to that Uncle Tom Wesley Bell who literally sicked goons on his constituents last year at a meeting? Absolutely. But I believe Corey would say herself, not trying to put any words in the sister comrade's mouth. I can call her comrade because she's also a member of STLDSA. But but I believe she would tell you, look, just because I'm up here, that does not mean that the work stops. Y'all still got to be out in the streets. Y'all still got to be out feeding the homeless. Y'all still have to I'll be out working because it was the movement that put Corey where she is. It was the movement that put Zaron where he is. Even though he makes me less and less and less of I mean, he's in DSA too. He's in NYC DSA. So like either things that he says make me less and less and less of a supporter of his, but he's still DSA's guy. Of course, he seems
Yeah,
to be not giving all that much of a shit about DSA anymore because he keeps saying things that embarrass us.
I I know you're gonna disagree, but part of me feels like that's like a good thing. Like part of me wants the Zoran thing. I want this first part to be as rough as possible, and then float back up to him doing everything that he said he was going to do. That way we can set a good floor on what good faith bullshit we can take, and still be
Yeah.
able to be like, all right, listen, this is what governing will look like, because I often feel like, now this is definitely a bit of copium, and like I need you to hold me accountable if my take needs polishing. But I'm starting to think, when if I need to see how the revolution plays out, right? What happened in the 60s was due to the technology at the time and the circumstances that were around us. It did take a groundswell of on the ground movement and direct action in order to, and then interest convergence from the white hegemony to give us the concessions that we wanted, that resolved into the Civil Rights Act, right? We're not going to storm streets. Storming streets doesn't work this time, right? Like a part of me felt really weird when Tim Walz was like, after the Rachel Good killing, Renee Good killing, apologies, was like, yeah, so you guys can definitely go ahead, protest, but just make
The
sure
last
no.
time, the last time people protested when he was governor of Minnesota, he sent the National Guard. That sounds like a trap. I wouldn't listen to Tim Walz if he told me to go out somewhere.
And facts, like there's also that, and then he even says like, hey, look, we are gonna have the National Guard there, but don't worry, it's to fight ICE, which like like you
Really?
can.
So they're gonna be throwing down with ice in the streets. He's gonna declare the People's Republic of Minnesota.
I'm screaming, yo, Somalia, we're back on the map. That never
And
left the game.
those are some of the like those I'm really impressed by white people, but just seeing what do they put in what are the like what type of waters do they have up there in Lake Minnehaha up there? Like what is going on? Like those are some of the most switched on white people I've ever seen. Like they will literally you just walk up to a random white dude and he'll just say, my Viking ancestors want me to burn this whole fucker to the ground. I'm like, Jesus Christ, y'all are nuts. But like those are my favorite types of white people. Like y'all
That's
can say shit. Y'all can say shit. Like you in the meantime, you go up to a white person in New York. Well, I think Zeran's gonna do good, and also fuck Hamas, and like I'm really looking forward to my free buses. Meantime, you go to Minnesota, yeah, burn it all to the fucking ground. Fuck them all.
insane.
Yeah,
Oh,
I guess that's it. Well,
okay.
I was about to say there was a difference between blue state and red state people, but both Minnesota and New York are blue states.
I mean, it's a difference between being in the city and being in the on the outskirts, because that's really where that's really where our polarization is right now. It's not even, it's due to the national news becoming hyper local instead of like everyone keeping to their actual own zip codes. Now you have,
Uh-huh.
now communities themselves like are only gonna go red or blue. And so within the I could even see it because I started canvassing um with DSADC, and
Oh,
we can
are you a member of DSADC?
I'm not a dues paying member. I've gone to 2 meetings.
Lame,
I'm
lame.
trying,
Why don't you
we
join?
go we gonna get low key. I kind of want to see what the Working Family Party is like, because they have one in PG, which is like closer to where I actually live. And
Uh-huh.
part of me also feels like Party's family has more, because I went there and there was like no black people in that bitch,
Look,
and like I was like,
all you had to say, okay, all you had to say that you say that to let me know that you're Nigerian is that you stay in PG or buy PG.
that's crazy. That's crazy because
Hey,
yeah, nigga,
y'all holding it. Look, y'all holding it down. Y'all are part of the reason why PG was, I think, still is the richest black area in the country. Cause y'all got so many
yeah,
doctors and shit up
back
there.
but yeah, it's always
Yeah.
it's been top three, usually top one for as long as I can remember, honestly.
Hmm.
Um, didn't grow up in here. I came here like, thank God damn, I've been here for like 10 years now. Because I went to school out here. But yeah, like when you brought up that old black money, like I can see old black money now, right? And I guess it's weird because time
Yeah.
makes things.
The bull type people. Yeah, the bull. And then with DC, like all them federal jobs up there, like I guarantee you, like that old black money, I guarantee you they got a mailman somewhere in the family. Like that used to be the only real good job that a black person could get.
Mhm.
I guarantee you. Or you also have like the real old black money. They're A lot of them are descended from people that owned slaves. Well, pretty much every African American that didn't like come over second generation directly from the continent is descended from a slave owner, like I am.
Mm,
But
mm.
yeah, because they were very horny rapists. But what some did, like a lot of those guys had just into sold their kids away. But a lot of them they emancipated, their they freed the woman that they had the kids by, the woman they raped, and they also freed the kids, and they were sent them north for schooling to get educated. And yeah, I guess they called themselves trying to do their fatherly duty in their way. But yeah, or maybe they just probably just want to be rid of them. But and when they guys died, some guys would even put some of the slave owners would even put those kids in their will, so they inherited money to start. Or
Also,
you,
GI Bill as well. Ash crashing
yep,
fan. Majority of all black money. I don't know if you. I mean, yeah, I guess especially during the New Deal, like during the 30s to 50s. I even have had an ex who like their parents like are rich in Seattle, and then I always am like, well, how the hell do you get black people in Seattle? He's like, yeah, my dad went to the army, and then he just did some IT stuff, and now, like, and then he ended up in market. He ended up at Microsoft,
no,
and he just
black
wrote that.
people live there. Like black people, like people. It always kills me. Like, how I didn't know there was black people there. Like, bro, black people are the original people. Like, we are the OGs. Like, we
Nah,
everywhere.
some places where I don't even want to find black people. Like I went Pennsylvania, parts of Pennsylvania that aren't Pittsburgh or Philadelphia, where I've had to go do work at. I didn't see no black people there, and I understood that. The fuck why? Uh, Seattle, I will give you that because I'm sure someone. The thing is, black people in Seattle can name you all the black people that have been in from Washington. It's like what, like Sir Mix-a-Lot, like, and like two other people, and then
Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix, and like they real proud of their people. So I'm not gonna
Mhm.
say they like we spawn everywhere because we the default spawn for real. However, we're what's that word? Not discrimination, discernment. We have discernment about what the best spots to pop up are
Yeah,
because we're
like
black are.
anywhere that you driving and you can't pick up a hip hop station, that's somewhere you don't need to be at.
That's facts. Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
take a pivot because more likely than not, speaking of Nigerians, my sister's probably editing this podcast, and my sister is not surprising. Some people may find this because she's my younger sister. Is not as um annoyingly progressive as I am. I'll say. I don't want to say she's not a progressive. She says some things that kind of scare me sometimes, but like she's in college. She's in her last year of college, and
Okay.
I was talking to her about like, well, how do you feel about what's going on, or like how do your friends feel about what's going on politically? And then she was like, I don't know. All I know is I'm not the leftist. And then I was like, oh, you're not a leftist? He's like, yeah, no, them niggas is annoying. And I was like, okay, but why do you say that? He's like, well, you tell me this. And she knows I do YouTube. Like, she knows what I do. She's like, tell me this. How come every time I've talked to a leftist, they don't never have a job? Why every leftist I talk to always unemployed? And then I was like, where are you talking to them? They're like, on Twitter.
Because work
And I,
is because work is for the bourgeoisie.
no worries. Be like, I do not dream
Actually,
of.
not working. Maybe leftists are the bourgeoisie because none of us have a job. Maybe we've been the real bourgeoisie all along. We got to fight ourselves.
I'm screaming. I mean, listen, the first fight to win is the interior. It's always the mindset shift. But no, like I
Holy shit, you sound like a Maoist. The
no,
internal contradiction is primary over the over the external contradiction.
listen. There's actually a lot of layover between the before the white man demonized it and stole it from Yoruba people. Ifa, Orisha, or known in I think the Caribbean Sagittaria religion have a lot
Santeria,
of yeah,
Candomblé. Yeah,
it has a lot of
I've actually
overlap.
become. It's funny that you mentioned that because, like you said, like Anglo black people, like Afro Americans and Jamaicans, etc., Trinidadians, like they call our traditional religions from back home, like they call it obia or well, hoodoo and voodoo are two different things.
Hmm.
But if you trace them back far enough, like they all come from the continent, and that was intentional. Like the white slave owners in the Caribbean, in particular, like in Haiti, they banned that stuff. Like the Haitian Revolution started with the Vaudoin ceremony for a reason, because that was how we like the white man did not know those Orisha. They were they were they were anti-white. Like you stole my people, and now my people are calling on us to destroy you. That's what's gonna happen. And like that stuff is real, and it's funny. It's like our ancestors, even here in the United States, like we kept some of those traditions, but we made them our own. For example, High John the Conqueror, basically a figure that's like it's basically the patron saint of African Americans. Okay, that's like he's our guy. And you read about him in stories. He's constantly the guy that's playing tricks on massa and shit. Like
Uh,
that traces
very
back.
similar
Yeah,
to Eshu. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's where that comes from. And the Latin American brothers and sisters, like they're into that shit deep. Like you literally like it is not just Afro Latinos. Like you could run it like any Latino dude knows who Santa Muerte is.
Hmm.
They know like a lot of these are literally just repurposed Orisha that are syncretized with Catholicism, and they syncretized it with Catholicism to hide it from Massa, but they still
Hmm.
keep the old tradition. You go to Cuba, they got Santeria deep. Um, Dominican Republic, they call it voodoo. Brazil, don't even get me started on Brazil. They got like 5 different houses down there, but like yeah, and it's really cool. Like you be
And the reason why I think oh, sorry, actually, you got it.
Yeah, and I think the reason why, because like the white people in the United States and in the Caribbean, the Anglos, they try to turn us into Afro Saxons, like to try to basically separate us from our history and our knowledge. Whereas the Brazilians and like there are a shitload. Like Brazil is the most heavily populated country by black people anywhere outside of Africa. Like you
Hmm.
go to Bahia, you could go to Bahia and never see a single white person because like that's basically Africa outside of Africa. And a lot of plantations were remote. Like they worked on these plantations, never saw a single white person. So same thing with Haiti. Like the Haitians outnumbered the French like damn near 10-1. So when you're like isolated away from the people who are trying to strip you of this stuff, like you have the ability to like syncretize and make your own tradition in this new hellhole that you've been taken to. So of course slavery is slavery, but the Portuguese and the Spanish, they I guess um, they were more concerned with extracting money out of people than trying to turn them into Afro Spaniards or anything like that.
Right. They for them it was a purely economic project. And
Yeah,
because of that, that means they also left them to their like to their own means, like culturally, more so than like um than what the what the Spanish project was. The reason why I brought up that idea of IFA in response to you being like, oh, okay, you spin a little Maoist type beat there, is because one thing that I've gotten really like starting from like September, I think I've like really gotten more into tapping into the story of Aoife and Orisha is I'm like that my dad actually grew up like a lot with. But like once again, like from British invasion and then coming to America, like he was low key raised Muslim and then just came over here not really believing in anything. But now that he's retired, he's like, you know what, Aoife kind of got this shit more on lock. And the thing about Aoife, because like what I brought up is like, you know, the first test, the first thing to change is the internal. Aoife and Orisha, the Ori in Orisha is head. And your Ori is this, it's difficult to translate, I'm feeling right now in a Western context, because it's not necessarily your consciousness and it's not your soul and it's not your gut feeling, but it's what your Orisha is trying to communicate to, right? Like in AKA, your life path happens when you follow your Ori. Like when your Ori is balanced, when you are balanced, that is when you make your best decisions, and therefore the path that um that Olu like wants to put us on, and why all of this matters. The chat is probably asking on a Marxist podcast is that think about what Catholicism or Christianity says instead. Instead of listen to your head or even listen to your heart, they say listen to this disembodied, like ephemeral figure who you can't even speak to and you have no reason to want to speak to, or you have no chance of communicating with. But don't worry, my white man's in a cloak, wrote all of his text messages in this book for you. I promise you a direct translation. Just take my word and his word for it. And I often feel that's why we have such different political instincts based on culture. Like in collectivist cultures, you understand the power. You understand that the power of the collective comes from everyone being feeling as balanced as possible. There is no wait for a great man. There is no wait for some random explosion or anything like that. Because you're like, we're a system. When the system works, we all work. Yeah.
Yeah, Che Guevara said the same thing. Like, revolutions are not apples; they don't just fall out the tree when they're ripe. Like, you have to actually cultivate them. Like, that's why I do so much political education. And Thomas Sankara also said that we never have to get tired. We never can get tired of explaining. And like a lot of people, especially on the black left, we've become a lot of nihilists, a lot of doomers. Oh man, these people ain't ever gonna make no revolution. These motherfuckers, they too caught up. Like no, like if Mao Zedong and his party, if Ho Chi Minh could take millions of peasants who had never read a character in their lives and discipline them and forge them with the help of the many cadres in both the Chinese and the Vietnamese communist parties, like people it's very surreal. Like I used to work at homeless shelters, and before I thought that everybody could read. Like I thought that illiteracy was something that was basically wiped out. No, I actually met grown man,
Mm.
50-year old uncle. He kept asking me to read his letters to him, and I'm like, hey man, I'm not trying to be funny enough, but why you keep asking me to read, be all in your business like that? He said, man, because I can't fucking read. I just clear as day. And that fucking hurt. That hurt me to my heart. Like here we are in the richest country on the planet. We still have grown men. Unc can't even read. Yet we bombing all over the world. That just solidified my It just solidified my socialist beliefs, my communist beliefs. Like this, we do not have to fucking live like this.
Yeah.
Misery, poverty, illiteracy. Like we have illiterate people walking around in 2026. Before this, and I never met an illiterate person.
Mm-hmm.
And like that goes back to say, like, if Mao could take entire populations of people who had never like who lived in ignorance, foot binding, opium addiction, alcoholism, illiteracy, being beset by bandits and warlords, and weld it into what Malcolm X would call the baddest, most feared country by the white man on the face of the earth, there's no excuse for us. And I think a lot of these people who are doomers, they spend too much time doom scrolling. Go out among the people. The people are beautiful. Go hang out with Unc at the fucking barbershop or the liquor
Yeah.
store.
So I think our actual like, and this was shifting. I think this is an important conversation I actually want to have, and I talked to this with other people on the team a lot because like I sometimes do get discouraged in finding out. So I got too many jobs. But one of the other jobs that I do is I teach. I'm an adjunct professor at a university around here, and so I still get to meet kids who are 18 to 21 to 20 years old, and I have noticed, damn, I'm gonna blame it on the pandemic, but then I'm gonna also blame it on like just the way like media communication changed. That a lot of people, and by I say a lot of people, I really do mean like white leftists for real, like just white kids, like are scared to talk to their neighbors, are scared. And when I say talk to your neighbors, I really mean like the person standing next to you in line. I mean, like you go to the same fucking coffee shop and you refuse to like talk to the other person who also goes to the same coffee shop because, and then it's like, well, I don't want to bother them. Everybody has a battery,
Bro, you
and
can make somebody,
I
you can
start,
make somebody's, you can make somebody's day. You don't know what people are going through. You can make somebody's day with a joke or just saying hi. Like that's one thing that we're taught. Like in DSA, you will canvas. Like you will learn how to talk to
Mhm.
people. You cannot be a why are you running around calling yourself a socialist and you antisocial? Like
Facts.
you have to learn how to talk to people. Like, do you think that we're just going to do a mind meld one day and the revolution is going to happen? Like, you have to put in the work. All these movements you read about, you think Lenin wasn't going around talking to people?
Right. I think some of them do think like there's gonna be one post that just reprograms everybody. Like they're waiting for the one communist post that'll like everybody it'll go so viral. It'll hit so hard that the government has to just listen to it, and then everybody will just know, everybody will know everything to be on the plan.
Or
And
the
I
government could just
back
turn,
to
or
your
the government could just turn off the internet.
facts. They don't think about that. I want to turn back to as we sort of start to wind down here because I know the most important thing that we wanted to talk about here. We sort of talked about what socialism is, why we need it, what are what are the drivers both against it and what's inshittifying our lives. But to get more practical, right? Because you bring up canvas sake and the fact that I think a lot of people stop themselves from becoming part of like a third party. AKA I'm stopping third party and calling like an act like just joining groups, joining an actual work group or something like that. We need to find a better word for third party because like when you join the Democrat or Republican Party, God forbid, like you're not doing shit in that political organization. It's already a machine. Like when you actually join, that's the first thing that I felt. I guess I don't know enough to be standing
And then
on
like
much,
a lot of
but
people, a lot of people like they think being a registered Democrat or Republican makes you a member of that party. It doesn't. Like
mhm,
the Democrats and Republicans, like you said, they have machines. Like for example, in every city, the Democrats have their own central committee. They have their own party workers. Like um, they have their committee people. Like those people are actually Democratic Party or Republican Party cadres. But like people think that just identifying with one to the other party or bouncing back and forth so that I didn't like the lies they told last time. I'm going to listen to this guy. I like his lies, and like just being lied to and going to go put a check in a box every 4 years or 2 years. Like my grandma, she used to only vote when it was president time. I think yeah, she never voted. But I think she did vote in congressional elections occasionally. But like a lot of people, especially our elders, they vote the way the pastor tells them to, or they vote like that's one thing that people need to understand about black politics. And a lot of people already understand. African American politics is heavily dominated by the church. There's a reason why most of our politicians have been preachers. Like you're not making any inroads in the black community unless you are in good with the church or in Philly, the mosque. So I had to give a shout out to Philly Arabia. I had to. Um, but yeah, it's also really really cool how like there's a whole African Muslim culture in Philadelphia. Like it's beautiful. And one thing that a lot of people shit on the Nation of Islam, yeah, they're a cult. I get it, but they have had a cultural impact
that's true.
that most of their prestige, like they would have still been a tiny little cult that probably would have went the way of Father Divine's group if it had not been for Malcolm X.
Mhm.
And their cultural impact has been outstanding, and they've actually helped improve people's lives. They've gotten so many people off drugs. Like there's a reason why, for a period, every black person that went to prison, every black man that went to prison, came out wearing the name Muhammad or an X. And
It was almost like a
like
community AA program, like you know, like
yeah,
yeah, oh yeah, keep AA program, yeah.
yeah, they used to patrol the projects. They used to patrol the projects, and like people respected them and knew that these were disciplined brothers that knew that they weren't on no bullshit, and they knew that you could go to them for help. And that's what communists need to be doing. Like
Mhm.
there's a reason why in the very earliest hip hop, everybody's talking about the nation because like it was a real material force. Everybody knew where the Muslims was at. Not that many people know where the communists at. Why? Because the communists really are not in. the communities. They used to be back in the 30s. They used to fight people's landlords. The landlord put you out
Right.
by like 10 dudes would come to your apartment.
Used to be blue collar, right? Like kind of
Yeah,
really what, right? Like because I mean the communists are out here, but like, to be honest, they're just a lot easier to track down because even like I guess to a conservative's point, yeah, they are in the colleges. Yeah, they are like I guess yeah, you could more reliably find them in higher education. Um,
as long as it's not an HBCU.
Facts. Yeah. Yeah. There's a little bit of that as well. Okay. Before I lose my other point, because I think so, because the real question was, um, like how do you get started? How do you stop being scared, and how do you get started? And you were like, you will canvas in DSA. And I think that's super important point, especially because I'm a person who like I didn't have canvas experience before I started with DSA, not politically canvassing anyway. Like in high school, like I was one of them people that went to do like give you a free roofing estimate, like in the fucking like hot ass Baltimore sun. But like I've never like I didn't do canvassing, and I was a little nervous. Now clearly, as we can tell from our conversation, I'm not like I can speak. But like speaking of white people that I
Yeah,
don't know,
man, you make videos for part. I hope you can speak. You make videos for part of your living.
still right, yeah, but I'm still that's still in front of a camera, and this is like, oh, I got to get in front of a possible. I counted more than two, like Trump voters in like the part of Greenbelt where I canvass is like it's actually pretty. It's supposed to be pretty blue, and so I can see why people might be scared, but I left feeling invigorated. Actually, that's the reason why I want to bring up the story, because I think canvassing actually, like the thought of canvassing, turns a lot of people off. But like, especially because we lack third spaces and we lack any sort of casual reps into just talking to people that you don't know and that you don't, but like still within a friendly context. Canvassing is probably actually one of the few places left in the world to do that. And like it did make my neighborhood feel a lot more. It was like a neighborhood over, but it did make my area feel a lot more human, and it made me understand it a lot more. I was like,
Yeah,
actually, because for me specifically, I was going around all these houses and I just assumed like a bunch of like white people lived here, basically, honestly. And then like as we went through, I was like, okay, actually, this is actually a mad multicultural neighborhood. And then I was like, oh, it's that way because there was an initiative a couple of years back to this was a new housing project and they wanted to diversify it, which is why all these people are here. And then on the opposite side, because this is like a diverse neighborhood, they're trying to build like a train track through it that all the residents, regardless of party affiliation, they're all against. And I'm like, okay, I understand this
you
neighborhood
did.
now. It's
You
not
did.
just
Yeah, you did. So you did what we call social investigation and class analysis. Like you went out and Mal said that you can't tell people that you don't like pears unless you've tasted one. You out and you tasted the pear. Like if you like, and that's how you learn. That's how you learn about neighborhoods, and that's how you begin to actually develop a workable strategy for doing politics. Like it's a fool that just shows up and I'm gonna organize these people. You don't know shit. You don't know who the shot callers are. You don't know who the elders are. You don't know who to stay away from. You don't know who you should actually talk to. You have to be able to identify the community pillars. And like yeah, that's like Miles said, no investigation, no right to speak. I know you've heard that one before. So you went out and you did an investigation and you loved it. Like it's and like one thing that comrades consistently tell me is that we have to rebuild community. Like back in the day, folks just used to sit out on the porch all day long. Part of the reason why they did that was because there was no air conditioning, and being in brick buildings, especially in New York, Baltimore, D.C., was not fun. Plus, there was rats in there, and they bite the shit out of you. So, sun came up, kids home from school, or it's the weekend or vacation, go hang outside, go play outside. Like your parents literally used to run you outside. You ain't been a layup in the house all day. And that's like my mom grew up in the early '80s in St. Louis. Like that's how it was. Come back in before the street lights come on, and like I say that us late millennials, like we're probably the last generation that was actually thoroughly engaged in playing outside. Like we didn't
uh,
have. I'm sounding like Uncle already, but like we didn't have
no,
cell
I know
phone. Like we
it,
had we had we
we
had
gonna
we had games and shit, but like, no, like my parents, my mom did not allow me to sit on that. You go ruin your eyes. Go outside. It's snowing outside. Go play in the snow. Y'all whine. I want to tell you stuff. Get your ass out there. Well, with me, it was always my little yellow ass, and I ain't even that light. But anyways,
That's crazy.
um,
No,
but
wait, but like, if we going real long, it's like, and like, y'all can tell me if I'm wrong. Always hold me accountable, chat. But I remember back in my day when you played, we was playing concrete football in the street about two, about every 4-8 plays. We had to move out of the way for a car. There was always cars in the neighborhood, and I was always interacting with them because I was always playing the street. Now I own my car, and I drive around these streets. When the last time you drove in the middle of some kids playing in the street? Not they in the park, not they on the court, but like they like playing some touch football. They doing something in the street. I feel crazy because I don't see that anymore, and I don't know if that's did I move to a different place, or is that like a systemic
they're all
trend?
inside. They're all inside watching. They're all inside watching Black Red Guard streams.
I'm screaming. All right, Sephi is calling me in. They're saying that ain't true. I played Manhunt with some Gen Z kids too. All right,
I mean, they'd be outside, but like not like you said when we was growing up. Like it was expected. Like you went if you laid up inside all day, your mom would literally come ask you something wrong with you. Like it's a beautiful day, snow on the ground. You got your ass out there in it, and like I
school out,
think,
school out. Mean we was extra going outside.
yeah, shit. I used to just go out. Like I didn't even have to ask permission. My mom would be laid up sleeping half the time, anyways. And like, long as you didn't tear your clothes up and get hyper dirty, like you was good. Come back in, look at TV, play the game. But like, I guess, but like that was before they really should not have started making these phones accessible in the way that they are to kids 9, 10, 11 years old. Like that's just a recipe for disaster. For one, this shit is it's extremely addictive. These games and this stuff like that, like educational stuff. That's what I used to watch. Like I really like shit like Miss Rachel, stuff like that, teaching kids productive. And then when we was growing up, it was a lot of Afrocentric. There was a lot of black content. I remember one of my favorite was Gullah Gullah Island. About it was a family, and they lived on the Gullah Geechee people. They're Igbo, descended from Igbo, and they like live in South Carolina, Sea Island coast. Very militant people. Actually, during the slavery period, Igbos were actually like seen as being the worst people to enslave because they would always fight. Like they would beat the fuck out of you. And there's actually a place in Georgia it's called Ebo's Landing, and they landed some Africans there in the middle of the night, and and they were Ebo. They all walked into the water and drowned themselves. So
Oh, I think I heard that story.
yeah,
Um,
it's you can still go visit it. Ebo's look up Ebo's Landing in Georgia. Um, I think the ruin of the ship that brought them there is still there too. But so it was like
Mimi,
all black.
what do you mean you don't need outside? You have Roblox and Fortnite. Come on, bro. This is what we're saying.
Yeah.
I know.
But yeah, and stuff like that. Because probably like I was a kid in the '90s, but like that was probably just a I look at outfits from back then, listen to the music, look at the show. Like, that was probably the most Afrocentric decade after the '70s. Like everybody was proud to be black. You had the X shirts. Like I look at pictures of my mom and my dad and I in high school, and it's like,
and,
um,
and going back to that concept that I was saying about like interest convergence, because like I also like have a very soft spot and like am nostalgic for like that UPN era, like that like when Fox just decided we like we should be investing in the urban demographic because hey,
or
don't
my
right.
favorite, my favorite, Nickelodeon.
Not think a little facts. Mike, wait,
That,
was my
bro, they used to have on all that. Them motherfuckers used to have Take Five. They used to have fucking TLC out singing grown folks music on Nickelodeon, like putting on whole ass R&B concerts.
to me and the and so when I bring up interconvergence, the dual sided both blades on this double edged sword were the fact that someone up there had realized, hey, identity politics is in right now, and then they said, how are we going to weaponize it? They were like, okay, because we see that you guys like identity politics, I guess I will play in this world in which maybe we just give all the races like their setups. So you guys don't got to be so mad that there's so many white people
I
over
said
there.
take 5. I meant after 7. Jesus Christ, I need to go to sleep. I'm mixing up my bands. I'm a horrible mover.
Actually, we've only got like 2 more questions, 2 more things I want to talk to you about, and then I might give us like 10 minutes for audience questions. You guys have been really great in the chat, really active. Really hope that you guys are enjoying this talk on the Empathy Hour presented by Blackbird Media. Like and subscribe, whatever the fuck they be saying. But what were they just saying? Something about what were they just saying? Chat.
What the hell are you asking them for?
This happens all the time. They know I to be losing my train of thought.
Somebody brought up Cartoon Network with Toonami. That's the reason why so many blurs walking around. We grew up on that shit.
That's facts. Like I think we were talking about like the history of like being outside and how they don't and how important being outside was. Fuck.
And like the thing is like our parents used to like this goes to the importance of community. Like there used to be like kidnappings and shit like that. Kids die horribly. Like in St. Louis in particular, there was a case. It was Christian Ferguson. I think this was in 02, 03. But like his I think his dad abducted him or something like that. And like parents never were like, okay, you ain't going outside no more. They would just monitor you. And like in particular, they would enlist the whole fucking neighbor. Like we knew who our neighbor was to the left, we knew who our neighbor was to the right. And you took them little cakes on their birthday. They bring us cakes, share food with each other, invite each other to backyard barbecues. I remember the guy that stayed behind us, Mr. Fred. He was an auto worker. He worked at Winsville Assembly for years. Man got a new car every year, and like nowadays, like I feel so sorry for people that it's just like it's like you can all your friends cannot be in no fucking phone. Like you have to actually have like okay, if something happens to me, other than my family, who would give a fuck?
And like truly the reason why that's important too is because that actually orients your life. Like it's not necessarily like because what I really realized, I think that's why I even started this conversation, because some people feel like, oh, I really don't have anybody, and they might be right, but they don't connect that like that was a systemic choice, that like someone thought they were more profitable being in a world where they had no friends, so they had to pay for all their connections. And like you don't get that automatically. Like it is natural to have and natural to want to have human connections, but you still need to do the work to go get them. And the reason why we know that's evolutionarily beneficial to you is because as you have your neighbors who care about you, that means I'm gonna make it super funny, but it could be more serious than this. When you actually got to go someplace every week, you gonna wash your ass, right?
Yeah.
Because you got to go out, right? Because now you wash your ass once a week instead of not washing it every 4 weeks that you just
That's for the
right?
that's for the white folks. We we know to
You
wash our ass.
you go lotion your elbows when you gotta go to get your haircut. But when
Like
you work
your parents be like, "Hey, you are leaving the house. You are leaving the house, and you not wash your body. Do you want to? What if you are going to leave the house where I born you, I raised you, and you are going to go smelling like that? Were you born in a barn?
Ifin Godo.
You
No,
are smelling like a Twitch
I
streamer."
like sometimes I say I got bullied, and then when I remember the meanest things ever said to me, they really about my parents. Like
Oh
the
yeah,
meanest things said about my outfits that like
your
like
parents
the
can
reason why I'm
roast.
so fresh is because I got terrorized by my parents for wearing like wrinkled pants to church. Like they like it's
Hey, you are
y'all.
wearing the same clothes over and over and over again. Are you depressed? Is there something wrong with you? Like my
Wait,
mom,
Tenkai, I'm not
pants.
putting that on you. I'm not putting that on you. I don't go nowhere, but I shower
I
daily. I do because
I don't iron no more because it's too much. But I got like spray starch. I spray my clothes down with that. But like I ain't going nowhere wrinkled. Like man,
race
my
was
family's
dirty.
literally one
I ain't never
generation
heard
out
that.
of the South.
I'm screaming. Now I got the steamer. We don't do irons no more.
Yeah,
Steamers every day.
who got time? Who got time for this shit? And then you got to break the ironing board out. Then you gotta man, who got time for that?
I'm screaming.
No,
All right.
I got the faultless spray starch.
All right, I might tap that in. What I really want to leave people here tonight with is, since you've been a part of St. Louis DSA for 3 years, you're obviously an organizer on the ground who's also using that experience to communicate. I'm sure and we're at the top of the year, New Year's resolutions. One of my resolutions is to get more involved in my community with people that know what they're doing, and I put that smart goal like that specifically because let's be real, as a Nigerian, I have a tendency to want to do things myself, want to be the big man. They calling me bigger, as some would say. And people of my kin, they're the type to say like, oh, I want to make a difference, so I'm gonna go start a nonprofit. I'm gonna go start the backpack thing. I want to find someone. I know people are doing this work. I know people that have more time, that are more invested, have done more reading, are doing this work. And I want to help them out instead of diversifying the efforts. So, to a person like me and people that are in my chat, what are some practical, like low buy-in ways to start being the change that we've discussed for the past 2 hours here?
Um, the main thing is even if you don't I never try to pressure people into doing things. Like if you don't feel like you're at a period in your life where you can dedicate large amounts of time to a political organization, don't. But still, like DSA in particular does events all the time. So if you can maybe give one event a month, okay, I'm going to go see what they're talking about on such and such, or, and there's a lot of things you can do. One thing that I've done in particular with regards to my political education committee that I'm co-chair of is we do both in person and hybrid virtual events. So like we thought like especially now it's wintertime. Okay, ain't nobody gonna be driving all the way across the city to go talk about no book, but we still got to talk about the book. So let's do a virtual event. But at the same time, weather get nice, people want to hang out outside some more. That's when you do your in-person events. And the, our intention with that was accessibility. So organizations are changing all the time, and a good organization will actually take criticism. So like if DSA or PSL or another org does something that your neighbors don't like or that you personally don't like, then you should, hey, this I like the concept, but this may not work. So I think the main thing that a lot of people have to do is get used to talking to people, get used to like if if we don't get in the habit of holding people accountable, of issuing criticism in a timely manner, that's how you end up with fucked up shit like dictatorships. Because okay, you basically allowed these people to take power because you kept outsourcing the power to them. And now they're like, what the fuck do we even have to go through this mummer's farce anymore? These people don't give a shit as long as they have food in their stomach. So let's
Mm-hmm.
just take over the country all together. So you have to get used to participating. And if you have a platform, somebody in chat just said, "Color and Ryan, you have a platform." Yeah, definitely. Like try to have organizers in DC on a lot. Like that's one thing that I do. I offer my platform to anybody that needs it. I'm not black, green, red. I'm black, red guard. I know we have very similar names. Somebody just linked black, green, red's channel, but like
That y'all now y'all have either one of you guys been on each other's show yet? Like y'all have to be on each other's show now.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, yeah, our names are very similar.
Mhm.
But
And you
yeah,
guys are both politically aligned and also very and both make very good content.
you talk to your siblings. Does that count? People are so funny.
Uh,
But keep thinking shit's a joke. When they knock it on your door, when they shoot your buddy, remember you thought all the shit's a joke. Like people don't think like it doesn't mean that you have to be sour and grim all the time because that's a recipe for a heart attack before you're 40. But at the same time, like you have to take this stuff seriously. Our enemies, they take the ultimate necessity of remaining in power very, very seriously. Like that's their goal. And they're even to the extent like they will allow a Iran or an AOC if it means that they can stay in power, as long as Iran and AOC are flexible. So our enemies are very creative. They're able to reinvent themselves, and we have to be able to bend with it because if you're rigid, you break. So we have to be the steel. Like we have to be a perfect mix. Well, nothing is perfect. That was an undialectical statement. But we have to be a good mix of all of these various metals that can actually make a weapon that can end this capitalist system before it kills us all. Because like a lot of people understand we live in an existential crisis. Like with global warming, and it's going to
Not
impact the third world. It's going to impact the third world first, like your homeland, Nigeria. It has a lot of coastal areas. Like Lagos is literally Portuguese for lakes, and you have all these different like whole countries are on the verge of sinking under the sea, because agricultural people, like in West Africa, like in South Asia, are heavily dependent on water for their livelihood. So they build by rivers, they build by the sea. You have fisher people. Entire lifeways are at risk of being eradicated. Why? Because the first world takes way too much more than what it needs. Like global warming is not the fault of the global south. An average family in Nigeria or in Brazil or in Mexico uses in a year as much energy as an American uses in a day.
mhm.
So this is our
And-
mess.
yeah,
Well,
man. Everything I knew that as well, but like when you every time you like I would just say that when you see the comparison in
I
the
swear to
media,
God, if one of your
I'm like,
chatters calls me BGR one more time,
I know I'm like low key trying to because I changed it on the live.
man,
Like I wanted to be known that I knew who it was. I did just do the wrong at to
I
it.
am Black Red Guard. There is
Not
Black,
not all
Green,
black
Red.
so not all black socialists look alike, y'all. But it's okay. We hold space.
Yeah.
Um, actually, wait. I want you to get your to finish off your comment, and then while that's happening, we're gonna take the rest of our. We're gonna take just like maybe 15 minutes for. I know we already have some questions that I starred, but some questions from the crowd as well. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm good.
good job.
But anyways, like so it's essential that we end this shit before before it ends us. Like this is an existential threat. Like an existential threat means if you don't deal with it, your ass is grass. Your ass is dead. And none of this shit is gonna matter. So we have to stop talking. We have to start doing. And
Mm-hmm.
um and like you do not have to go out and be Che Guevara, Malcolm X, and Mao Zedong all rolled up in one. You you can do in your own way. And like a lot of people have various reasons as to why they can't be a full-fledged organizer. Some people have sensitive jobs. Some people have children that they're responsible for. Like if you have kids, obviously, part of being a good parent is that everything takes a backseat to your kids. So we are not encouraging you to go be a neglectful parent for the revolution because raising the next generations that's revolutionary work.
Now I really want you to watch one battle after another. God damn it!
Oh,
You still probably gonna be mad, but I still want you to watch it.
it's all right, bro. I'm always mad.
That's fact. You got to watch it, then come back on the show. So you can like I know that it's wrong, but I do. I do like my handheld sometimes to be like, no, actually, when you explain why it's wrong, this is why that shit is wrong. Um, but yeah, like I 110% agree, and like that is the vibe that we're going into 2026 with. Like we kind of are. Like last year was fucking around and found out, and we just did a lot of talking while fucking around, and like the time for talk is done. But when we say the time for action it's time for legitimate action. It's time for looking for what you can do and how you are going to make your circumference better. One thing that I'll add and then leave on with before we get to some comment, you get some chat questions, is that I just recently joined my local Buy Nothing group because I have been very interested in the gift economy, in skill trading, especially with like honestly on my economics tip, I'm like seeing the way this market is going, and I truly do have. I don't want to talk about it too much and scare people, but like I truly do see the trajectory soon of like the type of economic collapse happening, just in which you will be really happy if you know somebody who knows how to fix cars. You'll be
That's
really
how,
glad.
yeah, that's
Uh,
how, like, that's how black people in the United States survived. Like, that's how, you go to the continent, like, people can't buy shit, can't afford this stuff. So if you have a car and your neighbor knows how to work on cars, but he ain't got no chickens, it's easy swap. So like that's how human beings survived. Like in for example, in my own context, I'm from a southern family. I'm one generation out of a Mississippi cotton field. I tell people my family was on the
mm,
like ass end of the Great Migration. So like late 50s, early 60s. That's when we came to St. Louis. So
mm,
like down there, if you're like say like obviously they're sharecroppers. They didn't have large amounts of cash. They didn't have the white man took all the money. You might have a couple nickels to go spend at the juke joint or something, but other than that, you were flat broke.
just like
If your overalls bust, you didn't have no new work. You didn't get no new overalls. And like that's the
mhm,
thing. If your elders that grew up with the depression, with the Great Depression, are still around, learn from them. Like you will learn so much shit about how to survive. Like and it's not LARPing. Like these people did not make it through the most horrible time in rememberable American history by being stupid or by being selfish and greedy.
mhm,
Like if people like down south, if people knew that you had resources, say your family up north had sent you some money or something, and you didn't share with folks that they shared with you when you was down, you was ostracized because they knew. And the same thing goes back to slavery. If you was on a plantation and you had medical knowledge, herbs, roots, all that shit, either brought from the motherland or learned from the indigenous people over here, um, and you did not share, or you were constantly running to the white man, getting folks whipped, getting in trouble, wouldn't nobody talk to you. You was out of the community. So yeah, definitely a big supporter of. Uh,
that honestly even dovetails nicely to like you know like we've really been hyper focusing on the coonery happening in the community these days, and
coonery and
about
buffoonery,
why right coonery,
shenanigans.
uh like the skin folk not being kin folk, and that a lot of that wraps around the idea and a lot of people that project onto coons and then use their middle school resentment to like defend them for some reason. And what often has to be said with the held hand is that hey, this is a defense mechanism, right? Like if you behave in a way that shows your actions aren't going to help protect people that are like you, then people that realize you could be they could be on the opposite end of your foolishness are going to not associate with you. That
Yeah,
way, you know, if you want to have more associates, you should think about the way that you act and have a pro-social, a less selfish way. Because that's the thing, no one like ultimately the ostracization is due to selfishness, right? Because you're choosing to benefit yourself when you
yeah.
know it'll harm people that are close to you. So
Yeah,
that's why
basically you're a parachute. Parachute, a parasite when you're a
there's
coon. Because like and it's not just like coonery is not just something that that black people experience. Like you go to our Latino brothers and sisters, they call them vende patrias, country sellers. In
Oh,
Vietnam, they had
art.
in Vietnam they had their traders. In China, they had their traders, compradors. Uh, Africa, you're like every society has people that out of greed and selfishness have chosen to betray for money or for access or for personal power and prestige. The Palestinian brothers call Uncle Tom's Abu Mazins, by the way. I believe that's Mahmoud Abbas's pin name, but yeah, they hate Abbas. But like every culture has a unique nickname for traders because there's always going to be one person or a group of people that choose to sell out their own. They don't give a shit. They're sociopaths. Nobody wants to be ostracized from their community except a sociopath or a fool who does not care. Like if black people cut me off today and said, you know what, we don't have nothing else, like I would literally it, open my, like I cannot live outside of the people that nurtured me. Like I love black people. I love black people,
And
not
also you're
just because of the
like to realize like to even try would kind of be assuming your own death
yeah.
because that's what it is, right? You're like, well, even if I feel I can find more community somewhere else, I would never do that at the expense of the community that I know if everybody
Because you'll
else.
never. And when you go and try to link up with these other folks, like you're never gonna be in community as a black person thoroughly with white folks. And like I guess there's an exception for political organizing, but that's a comrade relationship. But like normal as everyday white folks, I don't know, in the south of the trailer park, yeah, I can move down to the one. They'll be cordial with me. They'll bring me nasty casseroles. But like, I these are not my people. Like, bro, I'm from St. Louis. These are not my people. I grew up around black people, and it's got to be a cold. It's got to be a cold, dead feeling to be outcast. Like that's why outcasting is such a like as a punishment reserved for the worst of the betrayers that you do not feel like killing. Like in back in Africa, like if you fuck something up, they would literally just put your ass out the village or the city. Like you know what, you got to go. We don't want shit else to do with you. So now you wander through the savannah and the jungle by yourself because you done fucked up. That's a hard feeling.
Mm-hmm. It is. All right, man. Thank you so much for this conversation. Like, I was expecting only go an hour. We're like hour 90. Like, we didn't talk about casserole, Democrats. We didn't do that much. But like, actually, which I'm glad about. We talked mostly about revolution, resolutions, and about how to get in the fight. I do want to open it up to our amazing chat. If we have like one or two questions, I know someone asked about some recommended reading. I'm gonna try to find that comment, but I want to give the rest of the class a little Q&A option. So let them let her rip. Find
Don't
it.
ask me what type of wax I put on my head, neither. Stupid ass question.
I think it's on Afrofuturism. Oh, here it is. Yeah, Mob 6506
Mm.
uh says only been starting to actually read political theory recently. I'm starting with revolutionary suicide and I'm almost done. But are there any other
That's a
books that
good.
you recommend?
That's a good one. If you're on a Black Panther arc, highly recommend you. Well, first off, you should read every biography or autobiography of the Panthers that you can get, because you'll learn a lot, even from the Panthers that had more rightist orientation. People like Elaine Brown, the first chairwoman of the party after Huey fled to Cuba. She was chairwoman of the party. Um, Her book is called A Taste of Power. Bobby Seals, Seize the Time. There's also a lot of lesser known Panthers. Probably my favorite Panther biography is called My People Are Rising by Comrade Elder Aaron Dixon out of Seattle. and he's still pretty active in the movement today. I actually interviewed him year before last, but really, really good comrade. And one thing I love about Panther elders, Panther veterans, is that they don't they don't just like ride off the Panthers. Oh yeah, I was in the Black Panthers. Y'all don't know shit. But like the best of them, they're unspoken. Like yeah, like they'll tell you, yeah, man, I used to work with the Panthers grocery program, but then they show up. Like one thing that they taught was you got to be involved in the community. Like you cannot just sit on your ass, look at TV, do your own thing. If you call yourself a communist, you are expected to actually participate. And for a lot of these comrade elders, that is a lesson. Yeah, a lot of shit went on in the Black Panther Party. But one thing that the best of these elder comrades have taken to heart, and the lesson that still remembers, I mean that they still remember from so many years ago, is that we have to serve the people, and they serve the people, whether it's at city council meetings. They'll put that black beret on and that cane with the quickness and go. City council meetings, um, working with the homeless people. Like a lot of these comrades are still around. And if you have the privilege of having a Panther elder in your organizing circle, I highly recommend that you learn as much as you can from 'em, because these comrades are passing away rapidly. But back to the recommended reading. So anything from the Black Panther Party that you can get your hands on. Black Against Empire. That's like the Bible. There's also Out of Oakland, which is it basically talks about their international policy. Um, and then like if you want more like hardcore MLM stuff, you can start with the basic course, the Marxist Leninist Maoist basic course. Most of the books that
Really,
I've
I did have that as a just for any newbies in the chat. Do you mind, since you're such an eclectic S plus political commentator, please quickly, effectively, and without mistakes, describe Marxist Leninism in under 140 Twitter characters.
I'm not a Marxist Leninist. I'm a Marxist Leninist Maoist.
Oh, see, now we about to really catch me, because please tell me the difference between those two.
Okay, so Marxism Leninism is like driving a donkey. Marxism Leninism Maoism is like driving a Lamborghini.
So
You
there's,
said it. You said in under 140 Twitter characters.
I did, and we all know that's how you get the most nuance. There's no need for any more nuance there. Uh, nah, but I
Basically,
because I have like a fuzzy like I do know both terms that was jokes before. Any people in the comments on this recast like try to be like Tyle's secret lib and doesn't do the reading.
okay.
Like I'm aware
So
that Leninism is kind of like more vanguardy, like because of the Leninism part.
yeah, well, Marxism Leninism Maoism believes in the importance of a communist party as well. If to sum it up, Marxism Leninism is basically it was basically the product of the first time that Marxism was actually applied. Leninism was actually applied to, like, you had the Paris Commune, which was it was basically the first dictatorship of the proletariat, the first time that working class people actually held state power. But as we know, it was crushed. So the Soviet Union was the first long-standing application of Marxism to real life. It was basically, okay, you know what? The provisional government, all these people, they're fucking up. They're selling out our people. We need to make a revolution. And that's what happened. So Marxism Leninism encompasses the period of the revolutionary Soviet Union. Okay? Marxism Leninism Maoism was Marxism Leninism applied to the concrete conditions of a third world country for the very first time, to China. And through this application, we developed Maoism, because through this application of Marxism Leninism to China, to the third world, we realized that hey, you have to continue the revolution after actually winning. Like the class struggle continues under socialism. Like, haven't you noticed that in a lot of so-called socialist countries, you have people that basically live like the bourgeoisie did before the so-called revolution? Like Maoism actually, like, and a lot of people come to Maoism because they're like, okay, so if China's supposed to be a communist country, how come they still got billionaires walking around over there? Like every time, like, and they'll tell people to tell you this. Like, okay, every time I see the Chinese kids on YouTube that are from or on Xiangyang Shu, they're from that are from high up in the party families. They got nicer shit than we got over here in the United States. All these luxury items. I thought it was supposed to be it's supposed to be the poor overcome the rich. It's like the rich overcome the poor. And after Mao died, you had this guy called Deng Xiaoping, who basically his slogan was to get rich is glorious. So he basically destroyed everything that made socialism what it is. And now you have these kids and grandkids of high level party officials, people that actually worked with Mao, people that knew better, um, living it up. And like one thing that Maoism is about is we can't fucking lie to people. You can't sell people a shit sandwich and call it a hoagie. If people and people who grew up during the Cultural Revolution, they're like, okay, we used to be able to, like, if we had a cadre, a party member who just sat on their ass all day and issued orders, like our slogan was, where are our cadre's hammers? Get your ass out your office and come do some real work. So Cultural Revolution is universal. Um,
So like
universal.
I was going to try to summarize to say that. So Marxist Lenin Maoism is Marxist application, but to a like a non-Western third world country, whereas
Yeah.
ML is like just the first time that Lenin tried to do Marxist stuff, tried to implement like Karl Marx's theory of the state.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, it's actually Lenin's. It's actually like joint contributions, but yeah, Lenin basically established basically the idea of the state as a weapon. Like, okay, we cannot just. That's why we criticize reformism. Like, Zoran cannot just lay hands on New York City and turn it into a longer lasting Paris Commune because they're like these bourgeoisie. They're very smart about that. They'll let you do all your little bullshit. They'll let you talk about free buses, free daycare, because that stuff really doesn't threaten their power. But once you lay hands on that money, uh-uh. Like they tried it in Chile. Like Chile literally had an elected Marxist, Salvador Allende, rest in power. But George Jackson, if you're familiar with him, that's another recommendation. Soul Dad Brother and Blood of Mine. But he literally said this was before Chile got taken over by Pinochet. He literally said, "Look, I love Allende. He's doing good things, but he's not gonna make it. He's gonna get killed." And sure as shit, they killed him because then these people are not going to let us. They're not going to let us peacefully. They didn't get any of this shit peacefully. You look at Bill Gates. You look at Elon Musk. You look at all these rich folks, really rich people. You look at where they got this. It's a kid in Africa not able to breathe, missing his hands, silicosis. It's a hood destroyed by Elon Musk's data center so you can ask Grok what you would look like if you were Chinese. But yes, keep using this shit. Like I use as little AI as possible because they showed me that video of I saw that video of the brothers and sisters and elders in Memphis that are being poisoned by Elon Musk's data center.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible shit. Horrible shit. And like if you consistently, like, for one, there's no reason why, call me old school, but there's no reason why you should be asking Chat GPT how to do your homework. Like if I was a teacher, everybody would get instant F if I caught you using, like, you don't use no robot to do, like, my librarians when I went to school didn't even want us using Wikipedia.
But that's why I hold the line, because I'm with Think Peace Tribe on this, where it's like I did come up, I came up with the cusp, so I come with a little bit of perspective to say you used to have to work to cheat. Like you remember Naruto, the Chunin exams, whereas like part of the test was the test was supposed to be impossible. So you had to learn how to had to be a ninja to cheat, because like part of this world, you do need to know how to manipulate, or in Naruto's world, manipulate. In our world, you need to know how to network. You, like, to be fair, you will not have all the answers. but
But
somebody do.
back in the day, you used to have to actually talk
And
to motherfuckers to cheat. You
no
used to
saying,
have to actually talk to
call
motherfuckers
your
to
brother
cheat.
for the test. Had to hit a cousin. You know, had to actually you generate soft skills in order to get this random assignment done that didn't really mean anything. And in a way, I can respect that. That I can still uh create a reasoning that this still has some real world value. Doing your homework via ChatGPT offers no real value because
Yeah.
you already knew how to do that. You're not learning how to generate better prompts.
And then,
You're not using it to
and then,
research the
and
topic
then,
more deep.
and then like, and it is setting these kids up for failure. Because like when you get out in the real world, like, well, okay, rich kids they can skate through life, but like if you poor black and working class, or poor white and working class, or poor anybody in working class, man, you go on a job and they find out you've been using this shit, your ass is gonna get fired, maybe sued. Like
Mm.
it's setting these kids up for failure. Like shit do not come easy in this white man's world. Ain't no way in real life you can just plug in shit into a computer and have it spit you some shit back out and submit that. Like you, if you're working class, it's right there. You must work. That all that other bullshit. As long as the system exists, like that's for them. That's for rich folks. And yeah, they have the shit paved easy. That's why I'm a communist. Like most of these people are fucking idiots who do not have the right to rule you and me. I think we should rule. That's why I'm a communist. Like, ain't no way in the world that so many intelligent people. I worked at homeless shelters. I've met I've met people who in another world would be doctors, would be a variety of things. I met people who were actual doctors in homeless shelters. They just fall on a bed. Like being like here's the thing. People don't understand this. Being homeless, being unhoused is not a moral failing. It's a systemic failing. I
It is.
met nurse, doctor, lawyer, um, all types of people. They have their bag. They like those bags you see people pushing up and down the street. Chances are there's a degree or two or a college transcript in those bags. Nobody that's older and unhoused thought in 1985 when they were living their best life that damn, this is my portion in life. Like everybody comes from somewhere. And like it's systemic failure. Drug addiction is a systemic failure. Um, even being bad with money, it's a systemic failure. Like I had personal finance classes in high school. A lot of
No,
people didn't.
as a CPA, I can let you know that like most of finance, the only reason why somebody is bad at finance is because it's kind of buck fuck wild that we don't have any sort of standard of financial literacy in this country at all. But and even me saying that still rings too moderate to my ears because in the end of the day, what is financial literacy to people that have no financial autonomy over their life, right? Like
And
financial literacy
then and
doesn't even
then like
happen or hit 700.
and then they don't teach people shit. Like they had all this shit. Like this is all a psychological game. Like, okay, you bombard people. Instagram is real bad for this. You bombard people with models and people wearing, and mind you, most of these people that you see on Instagram modeling this shit or doing, they don't own that stuff. They don't own that Balenciaga. They relent that for the purpose of that shoot. So like same thing. You see these people flying back and forth to Dubai on jets that somebody let them use, or they don't own any of this stuff. So you're already chasing in a fantasy world. Okay. Now, as you just mentioned, literacy is so low. People don't know what an APR is, what a good APR is, what a bad APR is. People don't know much about mortgage rates. People don't know that fucking. I guess even a meme military. You take these poor trailer trash kids or these poor hood kids, put them in the military where they get a steady check the first time in their lives. What do? Use car lot, buy a Hellcat,
Mhm.
and like it's a meme, but it's and they don't offer
But
these
it's saying
troops.
something, right? Like it is because I actually have a friend who is a Marines recruiter, and like he was very transparent with me one day. He was like, "Yeah, no, I feel really fucked up about what I do because like we all know no one takes this because they like have something else going on, and also like most of them don't even get I think it's a charger. I forgot what the meme car is. Like they'll tell them like, oh yeah, like if you complete the whole thing, you get a free charger. And of course, like most of
Wait,
them,
they tell them that?
yeah,
They tell these kids
like,
they tell these kids they'll get free cars.
they said, hey, like we'll pay for a car for you, just like we can pay for your like
That
you just
is
pay for the
fraud. If I, bruh, I hate this fucking country so much. You are okay. Put yourself in the mind of a 17, 18-year old kid from I don't know from um, Inglewood, California, or St. Louis, Missouri, or Baltimore, Maryland. Okay, kid has never really left his block. He goes back and forth to school, but he's never lived nowhere else. Don't know nowhere else. But he watches TV, looks at TV, sees people. He watches like any other young man. He watches shows about soldiers. He loves shows about soldiers, right? And of course, most of this is propaganda. But he likes stuff like that. He wants to be a soldier. His dad was in the military. Of course, his dad isn't around. Um, so goes down to and it's not about serving the country or anything like that. Like you have test scores really weren't all that much to crow about. Neither were his grades. He had other things going on, right, in high school. So college really isn't all that much of an option unless it's a local community college. So he goes down to the military recruitment office because it's either that or work at McDonald's or Burger King, and he don't want to do that. And his mom grew up. His mom, he saw his mom doing that stuff growing up. He doesn't want to do that. So he joins the military, and you're telling me they push these kids over the edge of signing their name on them papers by telling them these kids have already been lied to by telling them that they will get a free car that everybody loves.
what
That
they're
is
what
dis- that,
yeah, like that, and like
that
and
is fucking disgusting.
right, and they realize that too because their numbers are dropping, and like they are.
Yeah, who the fuck want to go fight and die for Donald Trump?
That was it. Like nobody wants to do that shit. So like literally, what they're trained to do is they say, "Well, you talk to them until you can find out like what do they want, and then you explain that however you want to do it, right?
Most of
That
them kids just want to do their 4 whatever years. I don't know how long a contract is. Most of them kids just want to do their contract without getting shot at or having their legs blown off and go home and get that Hellcat.
that's it. And
Yeah,
and 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 then make their parents happy because they're either in the service or because the really bigger draw
yeah.
like because he was telling me like they'll do the car thing, but most of them don't actually they're not gonna once you actually have to sign the contract. They're like you could die. Most of the kids that just want the car they won't do it. But the kids that came in for the car, but they realized their mom's only gonna let them do it if they can pay for college. Now they're definitely in it. Right now they're like, okay, now I hope that I go there and I don't die while I'm doing my service, so that I can pay, so I can finally go to college and be the first person in my family to ever go to college. And I literally have to bet on my life to get this education from
Yeah,
the rich
and that's why
country.
their recruitment numbers are dropping off because now with Trump, your ass actually has a chance of going somewhere where you get killed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nobody has time for that shit. You know, then like
Like,
that whole meme. I'd rather serve crack before I
Ali
serve
was
this country.
saying, they're like, I don't know, the fuck y'all put me in Vietnam for? Ain't no Vietnam man never did nothing to me.
And
Who am I fighting?
No Vietnamese ever called me nigga.
Never.
You
All
know,
right,
in Vietnam, I'm kind of like a Vietnam War buff. And like, you know, in Vietnam, there was like a rumor that the Vietnamese, the VC, their real name was the National Liberation Front. Um,
mm,
the Viet Cong, there was a rumor that they did not shoot at black people. It's like it was their policy. Okay, you know what? These black troops, they're over here. They've been drafted. Most of them are poor like us. They're our soul brothers. Leave them alone. That's what they call a soul brother number one. But the Vietnamese loved us. They didn't like the fact that we were occupying our country, but like they would use like, hey, you hear they killed Martin Luther King today? You hear what Malcolm X said? You hear what the Black Panthers said? So they were trying to provide political education to the black troops. But anyways, the white troops, who the black troops called them rabbits. Um, the white troops would like try to hang out and be friends with black people in the field because they thought that like the bullets would skip the black dudes and whatever white dude was riding his ass and hit the poor fuck that was in the poor fuck behind them. But that's why you don't occupy other people's countries. You get shot at.
Mm. But yeah, yeah. I just moved that away. Remind me of the movie Holdovers. Very good. Would recommend. I have heard of that. I don't remember what it's about, but I definitely might look that up. But all right, so we just hit 11. We're 3 hours in. We're
Damn, I
gonna
ran my mouth that much.
when you drop in knowledge, when you're cooking on that high of a flame, I understand the flow state. But honestly, Chris, I truly do want to thank you for coming on the show, for talking to us, educating us. Um, on not only socialism but Maoism, and not only on what we've done in the past to what our ancestors, what our elders have done in the past to give us this opportunity to make the world a better place, but what we have to do right now. I hope you also had a fun time, and I want to give you like the last 30 seconds to say whatever you want to say on your soapbox. To the rest of the crowd, you out.
Thank you, comrade, for having me on. I hope I can call you that. Like a lot of people get weird about comrade. Like, don't call me that. I'm not a commie. I'm like, you are today, bitch.
Oh,
But
yeah, great.
yeah,
No,
thanks for having me on. Shout out to chat for listening to my rambling. Brother Tayo put my links in the chat. So yeah, look forward to seeing you all again. All power to the people, and it's good coming on. Let's do it again sometime.
all right. I will you can hop off or I can kick you off, Chris. We're gonna watch one
Man,
more video.
I'll
Uh,
leave. You can. No,
uh
I've been put out of better places. Good night.
all right, man. All right, cool. We got that first guest of 2026. Thank you guys for behaving. Yeah, I was waiting for you to say this, Mimi. Surprised you didn't bring this up. Everybody go sub to Black Red Guard. Even though it's very embarrassing that I tagged the wrong person. But like the conversations was everything that I wanted it to be. I'm looking for there we go. Is this, yes, this is the Black Red Guard. There we go, channel. Like just because I'm feeling good right now, we got 20 people in the chat for real. I'm gonna send us off with a video. Cause someone was like, this is all vaguely familiar, and coming from what we were saying, or coming from what kind of similar to what Park Rose was saying earlier in the what ADHD zoomies, what did I do something? I don't think I did anything. All right, I did say I was gonna do this. All right. Yeah, like I definitely don't ever want to like the GI Bill does have its like has mass utility. Like that's actually how a bunch of people were able to get out of poverty after the war. It wasn't spread equally all the time, but and it had to be done under like, obviously giving your life for your country. But I can't say But I can't say that it didn't change people's lives. So anyway, I want to show you guys that, like, when I say we're running, like, this is vaguely familiar, like the way they're coming in and grabbing people and scaring people for no fucking reason and having, like, literally not and literally giving absolutely no fucking good reason for them. We're running this playbook back. This is, like, I want you guys to watch this with me and understand how they really did just decide, okay, we're gonna do the Broncaro program, just to literally scare immigrants away from the country on some McKinley shit.
Like everything in history, the fuller a picture of our shared past you receive, even a terrible one, the more context is available for you to learn from. As always, thank you so much for your support, and back to the episode. Last episode, we discussed how migration turned into a national security issue, as Cold War fears of subversion and infiltration helped get national security hawks in Congress on board with anti-immigrant rhetoric. And in Operation, Eisenhower tried to meet this supposed national security problem with a national security response. However, it was not the tactics that were new. Back in 1950, Border Patrol operating in southern Texas began employing a new strategy that used a mobile strike force of 12 agents operating with a complement of automobiles.
Actually, I changed my mind. I gotta go to the beginning. Sorry, slight spoilers.
Washington, D.C., 1954. 3 men sit around the table, designing a military operation. This makes sense, as 2 of them are former soldiers. The first is President Dwight Eisenhower, former Supreme Allied Commander in Europe and Commander of NATO. This is his first position in civilian leadership, but he is a military man who likes military solutions. The second man is Joseph May Swing, a retired general who Eisenhower appointed as the head of the Immigration and Naturalization Service. He commanded paratroopers during the invasion of the Philippines, and as a lieutenant, helped conduct the punitive expedition into Mexico hunting Pancho Villa. And the third man is Harlan Carter, chief of the Border Patrol. He'd followed his father into the job and risen through the ranks as a hardliner. At the age of 17, he'd shot and killed a 15-year-old Hispanic boy in cold blood after suspecting, without evidence, that the kid had stolen his family's car. But it's Carter, the only one who'd never served in the armed forces, who is proposing using the military within American borders. He proposed a vast operation where the U.S. military will assist INS in sweeping factories, farms, and kitchens for undocumented immigrants, then deport them immediately via trains, boats, and plane flights. Eisenhower approves the raids, but denies Carter the use of the military as unconstitutional. Instead, Swing will use INS assets in a military fashion, in a sweeping summer offensive targeted at the American homeland. And they'll call it Operation
Are y'all clocking that? Did y'all clock that? Right, like they wanted to do a program where they used federal troops in like a terrorist extraction capacity, but on the civilian nation. And when they told the president that, he was like, "That's great, get those brownies out. However, can't let you use the federal force. That would be or I can't let you. Which one did you say? I can't let you use the state forces. That'd be unconstitutional. However, you can use the federal people like an army. Or sorry, I can't let you use the army because that's illegal, but I can let you use the federal forces like an army. Where have we heard that before?
Hey everyone, IRL Matt here. Sorry for the interruption, but I'm sure that bleep you just heard set off a few alarm bells, as that's something that we don't normally do on our show, and I wanted to talk about it for a minute. So our last episode in this series recently got demonetized by YouTube for a while because we used the official name of said abhorrently named United States operation. This caused a rather large hit to the video's ability to reach a larger audience and share this often underrepresented history with more people. Now, in the episode you're about to watch, which was completed before episode 2 aired, we dive further into this stain on our country's legacy and use its official US government name throughout. On the philosophical side, this is because we believe if you constantly sanitize the awful or just plain uncomfortable bits of history, even the most thoughtful discussions begin to lose context, and we lose opportunities for all of us to learn from our collective mistakes and do better in the future. However, sadly, on the studio side of things, with YouTube's inability to have a nuanced pre-screening system, we can't risk YouTube demonetizing this video and burying the series further, hence the changes to the episode you're about to see. With all that said, should you want it, the uncensored version is available over on Nebula. And I know that it's odd to be saying something like, go hear the official government slur uncensored here, but like everything in history, the fuller a picture of our shared past you receive, even a terrible one, the more context is available for you to learn from. As always, thank you so much for your support, and back to the episode. Last episode, we discussed how migration turned into a national security issue, as Cold War fears of subversion and infiltration helped get national security hawks in Congress on board with anti-immigrant rhetoric. And in Operation, Eisenhower tried to meet this supposed national security problem with a national security response. However, it was not the tactics that were new. Back in 1950, Border Patrol operating in southern Texas began employing a new strategy that used a mobile strike force of 12 agents operating with a complement of automobiles, a truck, an airplane, and 2 buses. They'd raid a field, business, or event, sweep up everyone who didn't have papers, and then load them onto a bus at gunpoint that would take them across the border. Then Swing and Carter agreed to roll out these tactics nationwide. Their teams of Border Patrol and INS would target immigrant hotspots across the country, such as California, Texas, and Chicago. And they set up checkpoints inland from the southern border to catch any migrants who'd made it through the beefed-up border security. They'd also expand the bus lift, train lift, and airlift tactics that INS had already pioneered, busing migrants to the border, where Mexican Border Patrol took charge of them. Flights taking deportees to the interior of Mexico, chartered from private airlines who jockeyed for the lucrative government contracts, resumed again after ceasing due to lack of funds in 1953. And finally, they'd added what would become an infamous boat lift program, operating from Port Isabel, Texas to Veracruz, Mexico. It would load deportees in front of families playing on the beach in Port Isabel, packing in around 2,000 deportees per month. The program was announced to great fanfare, lauded in the press under its official name. That term originated in Texas during the early Bracero program, when from 1942 to 1947, the state of Texas opted out of the initiative because growers felt the 30 cents an hour wage was too high, and instead welcomed undocumented migrants who supposedly swam across the Rio Grande to get hired, quote, while their backs were still wet. Today, the term is solidly considered a, but back then, it was regularly used in headlines. And when Operation
You guys piece together the word now. Not even gonna hold you. Totally forgot that was a slur too. Can't even hold you. That makes sense though. It makes sense. So we will not say it in this household. That sucks.
was announced, there was very little pushback. Cold Warrior politicians liked that it was tough on national security. Labor organizations were pleased that there was action on what they considered a threat to their economic interests, and an early series of articles where the government advertised the excellent conditions aboard flights, they made a big deal about giving the deportees boxed lunches, made the whole thing seem humane. Which was important, since Supreme Court decisions during the era of the Chinese Exclusion Act had emphasized that deportation was a civil proceeding, not a form of punishment. Even Hispanic veterans organizations came out in favor of the operation. After all, people should just take the legal path if they wanted to come here, right?
Right? Marco Rubio looking ass, bro. I wanted to pause on this part so that you guys could see that, like, here's an example of another time when the government bold-facedly says, hey, we have a program that we've designed to get rid of the other. and we're gonna do it in a way that we know is malicious, that we know is inhumane, and just like this time, the majority of the country did not give a fuck because it was the other, it was the them, it wasn't us, and they all went along with something that clearly went against their actual morality for these for similar reasons, right? That they did in the 40s, in the 50s, sorry. Like the union workers didn't want the competition, white people didn't want the diversity, and moderate / shit libs thought, hey, look, at least they're being treated well. And then even immigrants, even just like today, even when you are the type of person that this administration would be looking to deport, they say, well, hey, we came here legally, so we have nothing to worry about, because they didn't understand how white supremacy works. White supremacy does not care if you were here illegally. They just care about why and the who that is here.
Well, that changed pretty fast. First, the raids hit California, and it started to become clear just how many people were getting swept up, including how many citizens or U.S. citizens' spouses and children were being taken. Similarly, Hispanic veteran and labor organizations started to get reports of their members being stopped and treated like criminal aliens, forced to show papers, or even deported in error or regardless of their visa status. Others lost family members, so they began to reverse course on the program and lodged protests against it. Then in Texas, growers complained to newspapers that the, quote, poor were terrified of the government agents, saying that they didn't know why the government had to persecute Mexicans who were just wanting to work. In fact, growers began hiring armed guards that had standoffs with agents while their workforce hid. But it was in Chicago that the biggest resistance coalesced. Chicago was the last place hit, and by that time, public backlash had begun to grow. Similarly, the Hispanic community was a bit more spread out and far more integrated into the city's service industry, meaning that when the raids happened, there was a greater sense that it was your neighbor or barber being taken at gunpoint. Citizens were more likely to hide, warn, or cover for those they knew when INS showed up. There was also, by then, a greater sense that by forcing a...
This is also why I didn't want to get too much into it during the interview, but I also felt like that low-key was one of the more clever points being made by One Battle After Another. I really enjoyed the plot line of the Mexican American community in Sanctuary City, and how that entire town rode for each other, not out of some magical everybody had a shared destiny from the river to the sea shit, but because they understood who their enemies were, and they understood that in order for all of them to survive, everyone needed to be prepared for one person to go missing, and we needed to know. We in order to ensure the safety of the group, we had to ensure the safety of the individual. I didn't want to get that off because I heard that happening in here, where it's like, yeah, just like today, this ICE shit is not working the same way that it did the first time around, because now you're attacking a city or an area where it's not a ghetto. This is mixed with citizens and residents and undocumented people. And so when you start disappearing people, every business is gonna feel it, because all these businesses are connected. This community is connected.
A formal deportation hearing, rather than acquiescing to voluntary return, they could stymie the operation in the courts. But the most horrifying stories came from deportees, non-citizens and citizens alike, who were swept up in the raids. Though there was some attempt to send deportees to the region that they hailed from, the INS was frequently careless. It wasn't unusual for men, women, and children to be sent to cities they were totally unfamiliar with, including some who did not speak Spanish. And because they were detained at random times, these people often had only the clothes on their backs and what money they had in their pockets. That is, if the American or Mexican Border Patrol agents didn't shake them down during the trip, which some did officially, since detainees were supposed to pay for their own transport if they had funds, while others were simply robbed. And despite the headlines about boxed lunches, many were dropped off in unfamiliar cities without food, water, housing, or money. Others were famously let off in the middle of nowhere. In one incident, 88 deportees died of sunstroke when buses let them off in the middle of the desert, forcing the Red Cross to intervene. But
that's crazy. Like, they literally just, like, that's not even caring about immigration. That's just wanting to kill people in the slowest way possible, in the cheapest, laziest way possible. But
it was the boat lift that became the most controversial.
Now we get to the most.
The U.S. government hired a Mexican shipping company for the effort, reasoning that it was cheaper because Mexican maritime laws, safety standards, and passenger requirements were far looser. 2 ships, the SS Emancipacion and the SS Mercurio, were used. Not the passenger decks, though. Deportees would live between the decks, in the cargo area. Deportees were packed in there with few modifications.
Like, what? 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 Like, sorry, wrong one. Jesus. Okay, I gotta fix that. I have no idea why the thing doesn't do my sound effects. Yeah, no, but it, like, you really couldn't put them on the deck, and by the time we get to the end of it, you'll see why I put this on. Like, the pain is the point, because what the fuck are you even talking about that you couldn't? These ships are only there to send these bodies back, not even back to where they came from, just to export illegally, to human traffic these people back to Mexico or South America, and you couldn't even just put them uncomfortably on top of the ship like any other cruise ship. Honestly, no, they put them in the slave quarters, and it can't. But I want you to get out your mind that they didn't think that we would notice. They knew, fuck, goddamn sure we would notice. So now, what do you want to think?
Amid conditions that a later congressional investigation would compare to the Atlantic slave ships. The rough seas meant that most spent the journey extremely seasick, with the few toilets overflowing. The one mercy was that the deck was air-conditioned. Not for migrants, though. See, these ships also carried bananas north and migrants south. They wanted to make sure the bananas arrived fresh. Conditions aboard the ships became so infamous in Mexico that there was an outcry in the local press that leaked over to the United States, particularly after an incident where a group of deportees jumped overboard and tried to swim to shore at a Mexican port where they had family. While a few made it, 4 others drowned or were attacked by sharks. In response to the public outcry, an INS official inspected the ship and, in a press conference, told reporters that while the conditions would offend an American passenger, they were, quote, sufficient for... He went on to claim,
"That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy." Bro said, no. I mean, you wouldn't eat shit, but I mean, you're not a nigger.
Claim that lower-class Mexicans were unfamiliar with toilets. The public outcry helped ensure that Operation only lasted a few months, with most mass actions winding down by the fall. But, you know, here is the thing. After all this horror, after the people shipped like cargo, eaten by sharks, left in the desert, it turned out that the number of people deported during Operation was actually less than the previous year. See, Commissioner Swing claimed that during 1954, the Border Patrol apprehended 1,089,583 people due to the summer campaign. But those numbers were from the financial year of 1954 that ended on June 30th, only 2 weeks into the operation. In reality, most of the apprehensions from the campaign were included in the 1955 numbers, which were 254,096 apprehensions, meaning that the operation expelled perhaps 300,000 people, many of whom likely came back. So why all this misery? Well, it was for the cameras. One major feature of Operation, from the eye-catching name to the high-profile appointment of Swing to the reporters that followed the raids, was that it was trying to get attention. This was essentially a publicity campaign, subjecting migrants to awful conditions and giving the press access to them so they could capture that misery and disseminate it to the public as a strategy to frighten migrants and show the American public that something was being done. And they claimed it worked, as far as they could measure. For the rest,
There it is. Right there. Now, it didn't, right? It didn't work. As we can see today, clearly didn't work. But they're trying to run the same fucking shit again. For the same fucking reasons, because they are that unoriginal. The point is that this is ridiculous. The point is, oh my God, what kind of country would do this to its own citizens? Oh my God, what kind of place would be so horny to get rid of people they don't think belong there, that they don't even care if they get it wrong? Damn, I probably shouldn't go there then. I wouldn't even want to risk it. I know they say it's a great place and it's supposed to be the richest country in the earth, on the world. But nah, man, like, they're really crazy over there. So I think I'll leave them alone. And then if you're a part of the in-group, you'd say, wow, at least I know they're not killing me. At least I know I know something's being done about all that riffraff. So that's good, isn't it?
of the 1950s, illegal entries went drastically down, which has triggered at least one 2014 article about Operation titled How President Eisenhower Solved Illegal Immigration, which is just so obviously wrong on its face because border enforcement is larger than ever. But Operation was only one side of the equation. The other side was that around the time of the program, the US government was expanding avenues for legal migration. In 1950, the Bracero program offered 67,000 visas per year. By 1956, it had been raised to 445,000. Meanwhile, there was no cap on permanent residency. So for those who wanted to stay or bring over family, channels for legal migration existed. Employers could and did sponsor braceros for permanent residency, which raised the number of official migrants from 9,600 in 1952 to 65,000 in 1956. So this was a bit of a carrot and stick approach. The naked inhumanity of Operation was supposed to drive anyone thinking about crossing into the expanded and improved official channels, which is part of why, by the end of the 1950s, border apprehensions had dropped to just 30,000 per year, and the border situation was deemed solved. This is, of course, not to say that the Bracero program was great. The supposed economic lift to Mexico never came. It was explicitly an attempt to undercut agricultural unions, and braceros frequently reported underpayment, wage theft, substandard housing, and unreasonable work demands. By inviting marginalized people into the US, paying them less than American workers, and giving an employer total power over their visa status, it was creating a system rife for abuse. In fact, the operation was partially targeting these abuses. Farmers in South Texas were the worst offenders in abusing braceros, and Swing actually threatened them with constant raids if they did not start complying with program requirements. But as the civil rights movement gained steam, the Bracero program came under heavy fire from liberals in Congress, who cast its low pay and loose labor standards as inherently racist. Both politicians and commentators compared it to slavery, with the comedy songwriter Tom Lehrer lampooning a California Republican as arguing that, quote, even back in Egypt, the
Hey, Tom Lehrer. I know that name. I think I heard one of his songs before. That name sounds mad familiar.
pharaohs had to import Hebrew braceros. As a result of this increased scrutiny, the Bracero program ended in 1965. But the results of Operation echoed on. During later border scares of the 1970s forward, the first solution was always to further fund enforcement and militarize the border, a situation that became self-perpetuating, because more enforcement always leads to more apprehensions, which made the problem look statistically worse. Alternatively, lower apprehensions could be spun by an opposition party as inaction on the border. So the border became increasingly militarized, leading to two patterns. First, while most illegal crossings previously happened in the vicinity of urban areas, now people were driven to much more dangerous crossing points in the desert or wilderness. This increasingly necessitated paying people smugglers or guides, making the cost of entry steeper financially as well. Second, once inside, the increased danger and cost of the crossing meant that it interrupted the circular migration pattern of working in the US, then returning to Mexico. Meaning you had more undocumented people staying in the United States, even if they had not planned to, since they often didn't want to risk crossing again, getting caught, and shipped somewhere random hundreds of miles away from where they were from in Mexico. So in summation, immigration is, to put it mildly, a complicated issue. And what we would like you to take away from this series is that it's an issue that doesn't stand still. What history can teach us from looking at this issue, even solely dealing with Mexican migration from the 1930s to the 1960s, is that the situation changed by the decade due to evolving economic, political, national security, and cultural factors. And a complicated, changing issue needs equally well thought out policies that are willing to change and adapt to meet new needs. There is no permanent solution, though at this point, we do have decades of evidence that harsher enforcement doesn't eliminate the problem so much as change it. Even something like Operation, which is considered an inhumane black mark today, still came in tandem with expansion of legal migration. It's a topic that needs to be approached with nuance and humanity, with a good faith effort to understand the problem and commit to consistency in trying to solve it, aka the opposite of what the current administration is doing right now. Because throughout the period we've shown, and let's be real, to the present, it seems that the only constant is the United States welcoming immigrant laborers when it needs them, whether they entered legally or not, then changing its mind and initiating harsh crackdowns on those same people when it is convenient for a narrative. So,
Exactly.
I guess the last thing that I just want to say here is, if you are asking people to play by the rules, seems like a pretty fair and good idea that the referee might have to play by those rules too. Because if our leaders only follow the laws and policies when it suits them.
So, yeah. Like, ultimately, I don't know. I really like this breakdown because it did give me context. I guess, like, off rip, it kind of just made me a bit more sad, maybe for a reason that it didn't intend, because now I'm like, oh wait, this is actually all part of a color in the lines type of plan, right? Like, at the end, Matt is right that the only thing constant about America is the fact that we treat immigrants like dirty call girls, right? Like, we love them and we will invite them into our homes illegally or illegally until someone who we want to impress makes us think about it, or we get self-conscious in ourselves, and then we call them everything but a child of God. However, I do think the help is starting to take over the house. So let's just say I hope for sunnier pastures. It doesn't seem like immigration is actually all that complicated. Borders are constructs, and if people want to come work, why the illogical fear of them being there? Listen, you on to something. Technically, you on to something. On that note, open borders, wash ass, go knock on some doors, join a third party, and as always, be kind. You guys take it easy.